Anti-derivative Jill.
Greetings and felicitations.
Hello, I am Anti-Derivative Jill, and this is Indefinite Lunch and Infinite Combinations number 63. Today we are reviewing the next original series episode, and it's Mirror Mirror. But we also have today Scotty R37 and Pop Culture Curator and special guest Berta Prey 5. Thank you guys for being here.
Hello, everybody. My pleasure. Good to see everybody.
And Pop Culture Curator is here, and I want everyone to continue to keep him in your positive thoughts and prayers while we have a good time talking about this episode with him today.
Yeah, this is my last opportunity. I won't be on a stream for a while, everybody. So I'm going to enjoy this one to the max. As soon as I get done here, I'm going to have to return to the hospital for my final diagnosis and surgery. So I will keep you updated with what happens. But glad to be here for my last stream for now.
Yes, best wishes.
Thank you.
And Scotty R37 is doing stuff on Phantasmagorium. And Thursday, we should have Quantum Leap.
We will have Quantum Leap.
And Berta Prey 5 is going to do his Enterprise tomorrow and his Bed Life on Friday. So that'll be fun. And so with that said, let's check out Mirror Mirror. So last night, the feelings that I had were the same kind of feelings I get before I go on a special trip on a vacation somewhere. So it took me a bit to fall asleep. And now I've had a lot of coffee.
The excitement on this episode is brimming.
So before I begin with the slides, I'll give away the basic summary from the Star Trek 365 Paula M. Block and Terry J. Ehrman book, which of course is the same one that was used on the TOS reviews on the Clyburn Times channel. And so I'm going to read that. So it says, an ion storm creates a transporter malfunction, swapping Kirk, McCoy, Scotty, and Uhura with their counterparts from another universe. The mirror universe has the same technology as their own, but the civilization there has evolved along a quite different path. Enterprise crew members there rise in rank by practicing intimidation and assassination, and Kirk is expected to execute anyone who challenges his authority, including the Halkins, the peaceful inhabitants of the planet below. As Scotty searches for a way to get the landing party home, Kirk attempts to save the Halkin populace, but can he do so without forfeiting his own life? And so this episode first aired on October 6, 1967. It was written by Jerome Bixby and directed by Mark Daniels, one of the recurrent Star Trek directors. And of course, one of the things that makes Star Trek so awesome and special is that the science fiction writers worked on it. And that's what makes this episode so awesome, too. Jerome Bixby didn't just write the teleplay, but he also wrote One Way Street in the December 1953, January 1954 issue of Amazing Stories. And so Gene Roddenberry sees this story, hires him to make it for Star Trek. And this is part of what makes Star Trek rock, because Gene knows how to bring in the right people. And of course, speaking of right people, of course, Gino Kuhn and Dorothy Fontana worked on this script too. And I also would like to say hello to the chat. Hello to Mark Harkness. He's first here. He says, remember, folks. And Ram. Not everyone in the mirror universe is diametrically different from his or her counterpart, Hawkins. And only adult thinks sensitivity to light is a reasonable aspect of this. Agreed. And Mark Harkness continues, and yes, shots fired on that one. See, Woman Corner of Hollywood and Main Street. I don't know what that
One
part
Adam
means.
12 is a reference to an old TV show from the 60s.
Oh, thank you. And Bird of Prey 5 says the poll should be A+++, A++, A+, or A. And that's
Hint.
right. Mhm. And Mark Harkness has already given it a B+ because I'm actually my evil counterpart. And hey, hello to LDG, JT Kirk. Great to see you, Herc130, and Ari.
Ahoy to all.
Yeah, and
Hey,
hello.
Herc.
Mikey Sue's 4 is also here. Great to see you. Edge of Time. What a gripping episode. No kidding. And Sean Carter, hello. Great to see everybody here. Franco Walker, no kidding. And even Hungry. Hungry's awake. What are you doing awake? Been drawing for many hours. A sick clobberer. Hello to all. Can't do anything clever at 3:36 a.m. Hugs to all.
Good to see you, Hungry.
Great to see you, but I hope you get some rest soon.
Hugs and high fives.
And hello to Captain Fandom Nerd. Also,
Hello.
Hello there.
great to see everyone.
Dun, 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 dun.
Something that I also found kind of funny was that if you're in a different country, you get a different title for the episode. Like in
What is-
Japan, you get Terror of the Ion Turbulence. That's the funniest one, but there's
That
a
is
few
pretty cool.
others. But in Germany, it's just a parallel universe.
How bland.
I
I
know,
had no
right?
idea those titles were changed.
Yeah, me neither. So Devil in the Dark will always be my favorite, but this one is high up there. I won't know for sure. I'll order these later, but this is close to perfect as you can get for a Star Trek episode. I tried, and well, the main issue, of course, being the unlikelihood of such a mirror ship existing in the same point at the same time, going on the same mission as the original universe's ship. And we need all that to happen for the transporter accident to work.
Well,
So it's
and
just
if I may, as a reminder,
please.
that when Harlan Ellison wrote City on the Edge of Forever, he didn't originally write for the Enterprise to just disappear like it did in the Star Trek episode, but what he wrote was that the Enterprise up above was a mirror universe version. So that's where this was that's where the idea of this came from. It had a different name, and it was a mirror universe opposite ship. But they decided that they couldn't fit all that into one episode.
Oh, the mirror universe concept came from Harlan Ellison?
Harlan Ellison, yeah, The City on the Edge of Forever. Because in the episode, if you remember, their ship was just suddenly gone, like it was non-existent. But in the actual story, the ship was up there, but it was a mirror universe version.
Oh, where do I find this script? Was it a first draft script?
No, if you read City on the Edge of Forever, you'll see it in there.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like Yesteryear, where they beam back to the ship and they find everything different.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because in my head, Ken, City on the Edge of Forever is what created the mirror universe.
Interesting.
Oh,
Not impossible.
because time travel can create different timelines.
Possible.
The Guardian of Forever, when he said, okay, everything's been fixed, that he was able to bring back the universe, but there was this other universe that still existed.
Right.
He just
So there
split
was
it off.
There was a split.
Mm-hmm.
But that's headcanon, it's neither here nor there.
Well, I
Well,
love that. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say there's a series of books that are written by William Shatner, and he does go over like Captain Kirk, the revived Captain Kirk, revived by the Borg. It's a long, complicated story, but he does end up in the mirror universe. And when Picard gets to the mirror universe, he's looking over the history and says, well, the only thing that's not different between the mirror universe and the regular universe are the works of William Shakespeare. So Shakespeare,
of course he would.
Shakespeare's plays and
All the
sonnets,
same.
all the same.
That's funny. That makes sense, though. Actually,
Well, of course, because they were written in Klingon. So
Well, you haven't heard them until, yes.
I love that this episode begins on this impossible planet. Impossible because of how peaceful they are, the pacifism, and an ion storm is approaching, and this is our third ion storm so far. We've had one in Court Martial and the Galileo 7.
Aurora Borealis, specified in your kitchen at this time of day, at this time of year. All right. Can I see it? No.
The Halcyon planet is a completely pacifist world, and I don't understand how such a world can even exist, because how do they defend themselves?
it was a 12,000 years of total peace.
12,000 years. Well, you know what? Who am I to question their ability to be peaceful? If it's 12,000 years, then they rock.
My first thought was, well, what if we say, if you don't give us the dilithium crystal, we'll kill somebody in your name? And then they're like, oh crap.
Yeah, they're so peaceful that not even the Federation can live up to them. And yet they do exist somehow. But like you said,
You do have the might to force the crystals from us, of course.
But we won't. Consider that.
And I will consider that. And I think that that's something that was brought up in terms of light sensitivity and everything that happens with Philippa Georgiou and everything. One of the sort of cornerstones of Star Trek is that line alone. You know, you could do this by force. You could be an Imperial space navy and impart your will on any weaker species you want. And the point is, and I think, Jill, you've mentioned it several times, Starfleet isn't evil. It is not trying to take over the galaxy. They are explorers, diplomats. And
right, and Kirk's living up to that
Mhm.
standard.
I'm sorry, but where does the reference come to light sensitivity? I missed that.
Oh, that's on Disco.
And
STD.
yeah, he's making a filth reference. Sorry.
Captain Lorca. That's why he always has to be in his ready room with the lights off.
That sounds
It was
ridiculous.
nonsense
Mm-hmm.
brought
True.
up by Star Trek Discovery writers.
Or lack thereof.
Well, it's fun. Yeah.
It made it
Anyway.
anyway somehow.
But see, the thing is, like, and when I think about Mirror Mirror and what has been spun off of Mirror Mirror, my brain goes directly to Deep Space Nine and the things that they did, as opposed to anything that was sort of made up in STD.
As much as
so-
I love the Mirror Universe and I love Deep Space Nine, the combination of the two were not their greatest.
I agree.
Triumphs.
It wasn't my favorite either. That.
I like the first one, but it just sort of plays a little fast and loose as it goes on.
Sorry,
Well-
Pop, you're about to say something.
Well, I was just going to say, I, for one, am happy to see Sulu back. I know he missed a few episodes because he was filming the Green Berets. But the fact that he's back and he does such a great job in this episode, I'm really happy to see him back.
Yeah, he
Well,
does incredible.
And this is an episode that has I think this is the first one that I've noticed that has all hands on deck. Like, we get Mr. Leslie, we get Bill Blackburn, we get John Winston, like everybody, top to bottom. This is a full crew of background and primary characters.
And another fine example of a bottle episode. They saved a lot of money making such a fantastic episode. Growing up, I never would have thought about that. But it's like
I
one of the
didn't
best
think about
episodes
it.
of Star Trek, right? But it cost them very little, right? But it cost them very little because it's a model episode, all filmed mostly on the ship. They just had to slightly redress everything.
And very well too. But Scotty, you were mentioning Deep Space Nine, and there's something in the book about it. In the Apollo book, page 194. What will it be? Past or future? Tyranny or freedom? It's up to you. And that's a quote from Kirk. Viewers seldom get to find out what happens to the characters in a television episode after the final credits roll. Fortunately, Star Trek is the longest lived franchise in television history, with 5 series following in the flagship's wake over the decades. It was inevitable that at least one of those shows would pick up the gauntlet from where Kirk tossed it at the end of Mirror Mirror. And in 1994, Star Trek Deep Space Nine did in an episode called Crossover. The taut episode placed 2 of DS9 regulars into that gritty alternate universe, as in the original, the result of a bizarre accident. The script was co-written by Peter Allen Fields, veteran of 1960s era television, having written numerous scripts for The Man from U.N.C.L.E., and DS9's executive producer, Michael Piller. However, it was writing staff colleague Robert Hewart Wolfe who would provide the historical details linking Mirror Mirror to Crossover. I came up with the idea that the Mirror Spock took over after our Kirk left the universe, and that it turned out to be a mistake, says Wolfe. Empires aren't usually brutal unless there's a reason, internal or external pressures that cause them to be that way. And the reason in this case was that the barbarians, the fierce alien species who opposed the Terran Empire, were at the gate. Under the Mirror Spock's more peaceful reign, the Terran no longer kept things in a tight check, and as a result, its enemies joined forces and took the Empire's place and dominated the galaxy, enslaving most of the Earth and Vulcan people at the same time. It seems that no good deed goes unpunished, Captain Kirk. So that's what the book says. But like Bird was saying, I wasn't really that impressed with that Deep Space Nine episode. I don't know if I'm that mad about it, but it was a pretty poor way to bring back that episode, because I don't know that even if Spock decided to be peaceful and do that, I don't believe that he would have been so naive to have disarmed so much of the Empire to allow for defeat like that. It just doesn't make sense to me, because in the end, he's just as logical as he is in both universes. And so, where are we?
It's wow. I never even thought about it, but like in the Mirror universe, do you think that the Romulans broke off from the Vulcans, or did they just stay?
I think they.
I don't know, but I already have 100. Go ahead.
I mean, like I said, to my head canon, they did, because, like, literally, I think the changes are only maybe 200 plus years old.
Right.
250
Okay.
years old at the time.
Sure.
Oh.
And obviously, the Romulan separation happened thousands of years ago.
I think it was a couple thousand years at least.
Mm-hmm.
That would be interesting to know about that dynamic, since we know Vulcans are different somehow in the Mirror universe. So Fiona's here. Hello, Fiona M. She says, my evil counterpart also has a goatee, just not on their face.
I don't know what that means.
Sure you don't.
Frankel
Frankel Walker A+, says Frankel Walker. And Mark Harkins says, seeing Spock with a goatee makes me think of the role he took when Star Trek ended, ironically replacing Martin Landau as Mission Impossible's disguised master, Mr. Paris.
Yes.
Ancestor of Tom? Maybe, Mark. Mikey Sees 4 says parallel universes do exist. If you notice even one item out of place in your life than before, then you travel to an alternate dimension. True story.
I honestly do believe. Maybe not that exactly, but something very similar.
Well, the Mandela effect exists for a reason. Hello to Kronos.
Ahoy. Huh?
Yeah.
Hey,
And
Andy
thank-
DeRosa, Spartacus, panel, and chat.
Oh, yeah, he still calls me that. He hasn't forgotten my name change. Dave G Sound, hello. This is arguably above a zero-sum probability. One of the best TOS episodes. Yeah, there's a non-zero chance that this is possible. Mark Harkness says, that would have made sense. And Dalek says, hail, all been looking forward to this stream. This is Dalek451. I just finished my own stream playing Gary's mod. Jill, Scotty, you never came to watch. Almost no one did. I'm so sorry, Dalek. We'll check it out.
Yeah. I did retweet it, though. I retweeted the stream. I'm sorry I missed it live, though. I'll check it out on the rerun.
Mark Harkness says, imagine Mirror Kirk learning that he has to not kill Edith Keeler to save his universe.
But in the Mirror City on the Edge of Forever, they go back specific. Well, I guess they did in this universe anyway. They had to go back and kill Edith Keeler. Yeah, that's an interesting thought, Mark. To fight against their naturally predatory instincts to save Edith.
Yes, and that would be the opposite. That'd be fun. Franco says, don't forget to subscribe, share, and hit like and select live chat. And hello, Cronus. Must be a utopia. And Hungry says, yay, Fiona's here too. Too bad it's nearly 4 a.m. and I'll pass out soon. No, good. I'm glad you're going to go to sleep. You got to sleep. Got to sleep sometime.
You're good. You're glad they're going to pass out.
Well, because
he's from the mirror universe.
No, it's because it's 4 a.m. He needs to go to sleep. He's been awake all night.
Wow.
Franco Walker says, cup of tea time for me. Be right back. Tea time. There was no one from whom they had to defend. Everyone was peaceful, says Fiona. Oh. DS9 really doesn't count. They ignored most world building. That's fair. Matt G is here. Hello, Matt G.
Hey, Matt G.
Our Hungry for Kinder Day says, are mirror tribble savage carnivores?
Yes. If there are no follow-up questions, the answer is yes.
Maybe the mirror tribble is what they had in Picard season 3.
You know what? That would make more sense than how they were displayed in that series. Mark
You're giving Metalis a lot of credit.
We're displacing it, I think. Mark Harkness says, In a Mirror Darkly was a great Enterprise episode, but they should not have tried to define the divergence point. Something best left to the imagination.
Thank you, Mark. I forgot about the A Mirror Darkly, which is interesting because usually I say that if you're like a TOS fan, A Mirror Darkly is a good jumping in point for Enterprise, which I've been told that I'm completely wrong by. But
you're completely wrong?
I've been told because what's the point? What's the point of seeing the mirror versions if you haven't been properly introduced to the good versions? But I just wanted, when it was the first 2-parter that I showed my dad, and the reason that I knew he would like it is because it has so many references to the original series, and so it's sort of like he did. He watched it all and he loved Enterprise based on that recommendation. But I talked to other Star Trek fans and they say no, but you got to get to know good Archer and T'Pol and Trip before you get to know evil versions.
Oh yeah, that actually does make sense. Same reason why Naked Now and TNG is no good, because you don't even not even the crew knows the crew. Nobody knows what's going on.
Right.
Including the writers.
They figured out eventually. Mikey says TOS, DS9, Voyager, TAS, Enterprise all dealt with the mirror universe. Wait a minute.
Well, they sure ran that into the ground.
No, they didn't.
What? No, they didn't. Wait a minute.
Well, okay. Not the mirror universe. A mirror universe.
Oh, a mirror. Oh, well, like alternate dimension.
Yeah, like Voyager, they didn't have a mirror universe. but they had the warship Voyager, where a backup copy of the Doctor was found on a planet like 900. Living Witness
Mhm.
was the episode name,
Oh,
and
nice.
like 500 years in the future, a race finds the Doctor, and they fill in the missing pieces, and they assume Voyager
Mhm.
was a warship that had come
Okay,
to
that's
destroy
fair
them.
enough.
The emergency
And
medical android.
and you're right. And in TAS, they do have a alternate universe where the stars are backwards. The star, like the sky, the space is white and the stars are black, and everything's kind of different in that way. It's kind of strange, but that is kind of like a mirror universe. But not like this though.
I do like even in the original special effects. I like the change in the transporter, making it a little bit more aggressive and red as opposed to gold, and then the wah of the Enterprise.
Well, I'm happy.
going from
I'm
one
happy
way
we get
to the
to,
other.
we get to see Uhura's navel.
Yeah, how did they do that?
By 1966, the censors had lifted the standards on navels. We saw them in short leave.
Oh,
But
is
this the
that
first-
why? Okay.
Yeah, but this is the first time we see Uhura's.
It was the first time I realized women had navels.
Yes.
All the audiences at home were like,
exist.
"What?"
I think that the stringent rules about covering navels during the 1950s and 60s is what people made attracted to navels, because why are you covering it up? It's not even dirty. I don't understand.
I don't either. But we did just see the Enterprise reverse, and there's something in the book about it I gotta read. Let's read that. Let's see.
And the Mirror Enterprise has those, whatever they are, and the facade collectors. Like
Oh, did they?
tips.
Did they have like antenna kind of things?
Yeah, I got these.
Yeah, it did,
tips.
like in the original pilot.
Oh, which one? Where no man had gone before?
The nacelles. You're talking about the nacelles, right, Bird?
Like
Oh, yeah,
the
that's
cage.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, the cage. Let me see. I think it is. Okay, so this is what the book says anyway. Have you ever wondered why the Starship Enterprise almost always flies from left to right across your TV screen? After completing the ship shows 2 pilots and receiving the green light that allowed them to go to series, Star Trek producers decided to retrofit the 11-foot model of the ship by adding more running lights. This was long before the use of space-saving fiber optics for such purposes, so the only way the technicians could accomplish the changes was by drilling numerous holes in the model and running electrical wires through those holes. The model makers drilled from the left-hand side, which meant, of course, that the port side of the ship, riddled and perforated by wires, was rendered forever unusable for filming. For the rest of the series, whenever the Enterprise was depicted flying from right to left, viewers were almost certainly looking at footage from the second pilot, where no man had gone before, and it's easy to tell. Just as Mr. Spock looked different in that episode, so does the Enterprise. That version of the 11-foot model has a taller bridge dome, a bigger sensor dish, unlit nacelle caps, louvers? I don't know what that is. Louvers. On the back end.
Louvers.
Louvers?
Yeah,
What's
they're
louvers?
like kind of like vents in the back of the warp engines, like slits.
Thank you. Louvers on the back of the nacelles, and of course, fewer running lights. The producers opted to use this footage in Mirror Mirror to visually suggest the landing party's trip to the alternate universe. Viewers first see the ship flying left to right as usual, then following a jarring series of quick cuts, they see the ship orbiting from right to left, and although viewers' eyes interpret it as the same ship, or at least the mirror universe version of the same ship that was flying from left to right, it's actually the one from where no man has gone before. Years later, when the 11-foot Enterprise model was presented to the Smithsonian Institution, the damage done by Star Trek's well-meaning, hardworking techs was finally repaired as part of a major restoration. Ooh, oh, I should have gotten a picture of that. There's apparently a picture in the
Yes, there's videos and several pictures from the Smithsonian
Oh,
model.
yeah. But I guess you can look up the Smithsonian model and you can find that there. That's some great stuff. And we got lots of chat. Oh my goodness. Hungry says contrivance versus good plot is tofu in place of a proper $40 steak. Oh, is like tofu.
It's like,
Okay.
I agree with Hungry Boy.
One of the best episodes of TV in the history of the medium, in my opinion, says Not Brian. And also welcome, Not Brian.
I agree. The pacing, there is no slow points in this episode. It's fantastic.
It is. And hello to Cardinal Sin. Hey.
Ahoy.
Great to see you guys. The world needed more Mirror Universe Spock, says Not Brian. And Krona says, I forget about a lot of things. Me too. Fiona says, you can eliminate much of the incredulity by realizing that the only reason they were able to switch universes was because of all their counterparts were aligned in time and space. Otherwise, she continues, it would happen all the time, which apparently it does just in subsequent series.
Well, that's one of the things that sort of drops the ball when they do the mirror universe in subsequent series, is that there is no transference. There is no, like, Bashir and Kira, when they swap over and crossover, there is no evil Bashir and Kira that go back to the regular universe. That part is dropped. Well, and that's, I think, what Fiona's saying is that the reason that this works is because of an ion storm with the location of the Enterprise when they beamed made it so that there was a bridge between the two universes. But in further mirror universe explorations, that rule is not.
Yeah, we don't have the bridge.
Right,
we don't need the bridge.
Right. So the two people that beamed over, that means there was two of each of them on one universe, or in one universe. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Basically.
I thought it was. So if there's a Kirk in one universe and there's a Kirk in the other universe, they occupy the same space in their universes, and then they swap.
Well,
right?
not in DS9.
No, but I'm just, and that's
what Pop was asking.
Oh, okay.
In this episode, they seem to swap immediately. Later on, if somebody beams over, they just beam over, and the other one is just there.
Yeah, and they have the possibility of meeting their mirror counterpart instead of them being in their universe.
Yeah. Okay.
And it looks like, is it Kronos' birthday?
Kronos' birthday.
He's saying, can you force Bird of Prey 5 to sing me happy birthday?
Happy birthday, Kronos.
Kronos, is it your birthday? Or you just want to sing happy birthday to somebody? I will absolutely sing happy birthday to you, Kronos, if it's okay.
But if you're just shaking down Bird of Prey to have him sing happy birthday, come on.
Yeah, right? That we do need confirmation. What if you interviewed Jorah Lansdale and nobody came? Oh, yeah, you did that last night. No, not nobody. I saw 8 concurrent. People will listen to it.
Kronos, Mom will pray.
It was a good show.
Bring it for if it's okay with Jill.
Yes, that's okay.
Okay. Mom will pray. You just want to say when I'm done? You want to say happy birthday?
I'll say it.
Okay. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kronos. Happy birthday to you. And to Mira Kronos, who is always talking on video chat in the Mirror universe. Yay.
Happy
Yay!
birthday, Kronos. If today
Happy
is
birthday.
really your birthday.
Mm.
I like how there's a certain level of is it really?
Is it really? Happy birthday, Kronos.
Happy birthday, Kronos.
And thank you for singing to him. That's sweet.
Happy birthday.
And Cardinalson, the only answer to that is that you have to invite Joe R. Lansdale back and talk to him more.
Joe R.
Until
Lansdale
people
is a
realize how
fantastic
awesome it is.
He's a fantastic writer. I've read several of his books.
Yeah, and he reads several books himself. If you get him started on reading, he is a voracious reader.
Yeah, he's
For
got
real.
a new movie coming out, The Thicket.
Cool.
I don't know why they decided to put Peter Dinklage in it. I think I don't know if that's a good idea, but
He's a good actor.
yeah, but after what he said about the what is it, Snow White movie, I think it was detrimental to his career.
Oh yeah, what tons of actors these days say dumb things.
They do, and not for the good for their career.
No. Classic Comics says, love the episode, but I'll never be able to look past them materializing in their counterparts' uniforms. Yeah, that's right. Here they are. So they don't have to run around trying to find the right uniforms.
Right. They even changed clothes, right? Swapped clothes.
It happened during the
extremely
accident.
convenient.
Including underwear, I guess.
Yes.
You think they wear underwear in the mirror universe? That's adorbs.
I don't think they wear underwear in Star Trek.
No, I don't think so either.
No need.
Wow.
Fabric is, better.
No chafing.
Plenty of support.
Oh, and Dalek 451 is going to stream about it again. So that's cool. We'll get a second chance to check it out. And Not Brian says, could never understand why they didn't just take Edith with them to the Enterprise. Yeah, apart from Joan Collins' gigantic fee. That's probably it.
Well, because that would affect the timeline if she's not there. Well, I guess she's dead, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. Admiral Teague says, I agree with Fiona on DS9. It's dark and Trek-like. And Admiral Teague's opinion. And yeah, it's not just your opinion. I've heard that opinion in other places too. I don't precisely agree, but I'll have to have my own Deep Space Nine live stream for that. Because I can talk about that a bit more. Kronos says mirror tribbles don't eat and don't reproduce. Whoa, that's weird. And Admiral Teague says in the mirror darkly has the coolest beginning and confused and captured him at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And Dark Mirror was a TNG novel in the 90s that had them meeting their mirror counterparts, says Classic Comics. He recommends it. Yeah, this episode inspired so many authors to write about it. And Ari says in the Mirror Universe did a giant paper mache cone roam the universe building planets from Rebel.
It was a windsock.
Just showing the direction of the solar winds.
Yeah, and creating solar systems instead of destroying them. Not Brian says Red Dwarf ripped this episode off in Holy Hop Drive episode Parallel Universe. Cool. I'm sure I've seen that. Cool. That's great. Oh, the Holly Hop Drive. Holly Hop, of course. Excuse me. Stream Elements says Matt G just tipped $1. He says, Jill, you need to check your local theaters for special events and Fathom events. Yes, Matt G likes to remind me that my local theater is playing the classics all the time. I just have to look into the Fathom events. And also, Alamo Drafthouse also plays old movies for me. And other kind of things. Too exhausted for Latin tonight. Apologies to Admiral Teague. Oh.
Well, liberate tutte me.
Kapla. All, says Gorilla's Random Thoughts. I'm glad 16 other people agree with me that this episode is an F.
Oh no.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Don't bite off my head.
I actually had
Hey.
to check the poll, and it's not. It's not. Hey, Grilla.
Hello to Agent Pepsi 1. You are all wrong. We actually live in this mirror universe, while this utopian universe depicted is the opposite. Ooh.
Do we live in the darkest timeline? I hope not.
Gorilla says, I had a whole list of things to say about the episode to make you guys groan or laugh, but it got mixed up with the Kirk splitting episode, and now I can't think of anything because of a massive headache. Hey, I'm sorry to hear that.
Sorry to hear that, Gorilla. Probably because you were up so late last night. It was almost midnight.
Mm-hmm. And so, okay. And Kapla, Brother Bird, in a mirror universe, one thing was clear: the Federation attacked them first, says Mikey.
The Federation attacked.
Oh, I don't know. I just read it because it was for you.
I see. Yeah.
I think they called it the Empire, didn't they?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
it
did.
wasn't the Federation.
Yeah, right. The Empire. Oh, Franco Walker says, I did spot one mistake in this episode. When they get to the mirror universe, the registry on the Enterprise is still USS instead of ISS. And Fiona says they made reverse decals and then flipped the shot.
That's what I had heard, yes.
And Mark says they did a beautiful job at the Smithsonian restoring the model.
I think they finally went in and replaced those bulbs with LEDs.
Oh, right, to make the mirror universe.
Well, and because the heat was having an effect on the plastic and the wood.
Okay, so Matt G says if Madonna pulls off her greatest hits tour, she's going into Darth Sidious mode. And now, Miss Swift, you will experience the full power of the dark side. I don't know. I don't know what.
So she's still performing with that botched surgery and everything? Interesting.
Admiral Teague says DS9 had too many mirror shows. In fact, there's too many episodes of
That.
Oh my god.
That I strongly disagree with.
I know, me too. But we accept.
Listen, people are entitled to their opinions, but
exactly. There's a big but. I'm gonna Yeah,
DS9 is arguably the pinnacle of Trek. It's a fighting words.
Yeah,
they are.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
No, I'm gonna have to have a Friday show about it soon.
Alan Moraine.
Even Move Along Home isn't that bad.
It isn't that bad. It really isn't. It is kind of that bad.
Well, it's goofy, but it's not horrendous.
It makes Kira, Nana Visitor, looks like she really doesn't want to be there.
Well, I'm sure she didn't. Anyway,
like someone had sapped her soul when she was doing the hopscotch. Admiral Teague says, "Who hasn't beamed onto a ship with a totally different set of clothes? Commonplace." Let's see what else is here. Better Minds Than Mine says there's not a lot of not so great DS9. Yeah, I know. I'm there for it, and I love that. I love that. And Quantum Fabric sounds like a possible brand name. And hello to SP4H.
Hey, Sporf.
That was great.
Hello.
Red Dwarf. Oh yeah, the Holly Hop Drive. Yes. And the AI show is here too. One of the best episodes of TOS. A perfectly feasible idea. Of course, when I saw this episode as a kid, I was used to the opposite dimension concept from comic books, like Superman and Bizarro World.
Mm-hmm.
Bizarro is like an evil version of Superman.
And Fiona says, "Why is she skipping so many chats? Because I'm sorry. I have to talk about the episode too. I'm sorry."
Yeah,
Fiona.
it's a tough juggle trying to do all the chats plus keep up with the episode. If you guys have noticed, we haven't even gotten 5 minutes into the episode yet.
I know
But
exactly. Thank you. Thank
everybody's
you, Pop Culture.
excited. And everybody likes to
I'm-
talk.
Yeah, and hello, James Caserta. He gives it an F for fantastic. And yes, I do appreciate every single chat that comes in, even if I can't read them all.
Thanks for being
Mikey,
here.
yeah, thank you. Mikey says Imperial Empire beat the Klingons to the punch. First was my meaning, Brother Bird.
Ah, okay.
Oh, if I forgot to thank Bird of Prey 5, thanks you. It says Cronus.
No one need thank me, but happy birthday again.
Yes, happy birthday. He also didn't like Move Along Home.
I get that.
And yes, there are a lot of bad episodes too. In the
I
Mirror
don't
Universe,
know if I'd say a lot.
but I think one thing we can agree on is that the Mirror Universe episodes are pretty bad.
I don't know. Dax was pretty sexy in that one Mirror Universe episode, although there are questions as to whether or not it was completely moral for Cisco to do with the.
It was
Oh my
absolutely
God.
moral. He had to.
All right. I'm just positing it out there. I like that episode. I think it's near the end when you have like Worf and Garrick on a chain that I was like, really? This is what we're doing? Okay.
Okay, I was wrong. We don't agree on that.
You do?
Gorilla.
Like, you like Garrick on a chain?
No.
Okay.
No, Garrick? Oh no. I love Garrick, and like I said, Friday. Some future Friday. Gorilla says Bird. It's cause Nephi
Nephew
O'Prey.
Oh, Nephew O'Prey.
You don't have to read the bird ones.
Yeah, I do. It's because Nephew O'Prey doesn't sing Alan Rain on repeat that you say it's not bad.
That's true. That's true. If he was singing, I would probably not like it as much as I love my nephew.
And Agent Pepsi One says, "Well, I have to head back to work. I have so much work to do today. Need to run some errands. Love you all. See you later." And Admiral Teague says, "When is Terry Farrell not sexy?" And Fiona says, she skipped the science. Oh, I skipped the science one. Oh, I didn't mean to skip science. Oh, thank you for telling me.
Jump.
Yeah, they do. Let me see. No, I actually don't want to miss the science one. If it was science, I want to see what it is. See. Oh, I got.
Oh no, you're going back to the top? Okay.
Well, yeah, because she
You're
said
the
I missed
dog.
the science one.
I wouldn't want that.
Okay, I did read that one.
Yeah,
The
that
1 out
one,
of
by the
2.
way, I know the end ROM is only because in the DS9 crossover where ROM goes to the mirror universe, he's always freaked out about how everything's not the opposite, but should be the opposite.
She says in the mirror universe, the filth is actually good. That would be weird. And they only had one side of the ship built for screen.
Mm-hmm.
They made reverse decals. I did read that one.
The Bassard collectors only turn into buzzard collectors.
Were
when
they
the Enterprise...
even Bassard collectors in TOS? I thought that was something that didn't come around till TNG.
Right.
After I said it. I'm not sure.
Oh, and I like this, Fiona. Like quantum symmetry, it has to be a one-to-one transference that eliminates coincidence from the story. I agree.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Scientific.
And I was reading it. I accidentally muted for that. So thank you for picking it up, Scotty.
Cheers.
Let's see, did I miss any other? Okay, I think that was it.
And Fiona says now she could just retype it. That would probably be best if there's anything else that was missed.
Definitely. And there's that one. Where was I? And oh, okay, there it is. Franco Walker says, I think that was one of the worst episodes to James Caserta. Which one was that? I don't know.
Probably
And
Alan.
oh yeah, probably. Mikey says, my 3 favorite Mirror episodes are this one, In a Mirror Darkly from Enterprise, and the Mirror one from TAS that tied in with your one from DS9. Voyager, not so much.
Well, and I just want to
More-
reiterate what
More science.
Berta Prey
Yes, go
said. It
ahead.
wasn't necessarily the Voyager one is just a mistelling of the Voyager crew, not necessarily a mirror universe episode.
Yes, and hello to Darius Munchausen, and with that we can
Get out of
we
this
can go back to the
transporter room.
episode. Can we? Can we get out of the transporter room?
We'll be back by
So,
the end.
this is how Kirk, McCoy, Scotty, and Uhura enter the mirror universe. And of course, we have the belly button. And Spock and Kyle greet their captain. And so I guess we were mentioning this last night. It was kind of like a semi-Nazi salute they have throughout the whole episode.
Well, and also reappropriated as a Klingon salute. The one that I remember specifically being from Star Trek V. They do that a lot.
Yeah, and the feeling during this part of this episode is very jarring and intense for me. So of course the Mirror Enterprise was on the same mission as the original Enterprise, so Kirk guesses that the Halkans are the same in this universe. And it's interesting that they really are. So while Kirk would never attack the Halkans, the Mirror Enterprise will annihilate them in order to get their dilithium crystals and their mines. And something important to note, which foreshadows the ending, is that Spock finds it regrettable that the Hawkins have chosen suicide. So that demonstrates that he has regrets about his actions and at some level that he doesn't recognize. But for him, this is the way of life that he's always followed.
Right. So I'm guessing, since the Federation is reversed and now it's the Empire, but the
Yes.
Halkans are the same in both universes, right?
Right. And
Yeah,
that's
and
an
that's
interesting thing.
one of the things that I really believe, that the City on the Edge of Forever was the defining point, because as far as we can tell, all the other worlds that haven't come in touch with the Federation were exactly the same.
That would make sense.
Oh,
It's only Earth history which changed.
that's an interesting theory. I really like it. It'd be interesting to see how much that would actually happen. Well, that's part of what makes this episode so great, is when it makes you think of how this universe must really be. And when you want to learn more about it, you're watching some of the top stuff. So he orders Sulu to program the phasers to kill all the Hawkins. So Kyle pays for the bumpy ride that the landing party had in the transporter. He has to give up his agonizer, which is the object of his torture that he keeps on this person. So everybody has an agonizer.
Well, I like that they're required to carry it around.
Mm-hmm.
Your agonizer, please. I forgot it, Mr. Spock.
Right.
I left it in my quarters.
Oh,
Maybe I
agony
can
boots.
borrow your agonizer.
Well, when I was in the Air Force in basic training, there was a piece of paper called a 341. You had to carry it in your breast pocket. If anybody saw you doing something wrong, they would come up to you and say, "Give me a 341." And you had to pull it out, and they would write down whatever offense you or mistake you made and then hand it to your drill instructor. So you had to carry that around, and you would get in extreme trouble if you didn't have 341s in your pocket. So that's what it kind of reminds me of.
That is a lot like that. And you actually, this is a great story, because you actually mentioned this when we talked about the episode of the Orville where they go to that planet where, like, the Twitter world planet.
Yep.
Majority rule.
Majority rule. Thank you, Bert. That's my second favorite episode, and I forgot the name. And yes, so Spock puts Kyle under torture. He collapses, and we get our first captain's log. So who's going to read that? Subculture, could you read this for me?
Sure. Captain's log, stardate unknown. During an ion storm, my landing party has beamed back to the Enterprise and found it and the personnel aboard changed. The ship is subtly altered physically. Behavior and discipline has become brutal, savage.
Yes.
The comma.
Great. And Mirror Spock he's still a scientist in this universe, carefully considering that there may be side effects that have occurred due to the transporter glitch. And Kirk immediately picks up on this, just as he does with regular Spock, and orders McCoy to examine the landing party and orders Spock to look at the transporter circuit. So it just shows how quickly Kirk realizes that he needs to be in command right away, no matter how jarred he is from what he's just experienced.
Yes, I think he handled it very well.
Mm-hmm. And then they get to sickbay pretty soon. I have an enormous amount of slides for this episode. So they figure out what's going wrong, and even though everything seems to be different, some things are the same. Like the acid that McCoy spilled a year ago happened exactly at the same time.
Right. So the question is, yeah, exactly. Did it happen at the exact same time in both universes simultaneously?
Oh, right. We only know that it happened in the same spot, not the time.
In the same spot, right? But it was at the exact same time.
Captain, the transporter chief mentioned a surge of power. The transporter lock might have been affected by the ion storm, and we just materialized somewhere else.
Yes, here.
And Kirk realizes that this is a parallel universe and another dimension. And so not only was the mirror ship mission at the same time, but they also beamed up the same landing party, which was exchanged in the beam. And I love McCoy because he's not even in his universe, and he is worried for the Hawkins, and so is Kirk. And everybody cares about what's going on, even though they're not in their own universe.
Well, there's still a morality to be followed.
Exactly. That's what's so great about it.
Well, and the question is, if they don't, maybe what they do can have repercussions on the other universe.
Oh, that's possible too. It's an interesting proposition. And Scotty's going to buy some time. His job is going to be to short out the main phaser couplings. Because that's something that's plausible as damage that could have happened during the ion storm. So they can make it look like it was an accident. And Kirk doesn't have to make a mistake to learn lessons that that they need to make sure that the mirror crew can't hear what they're up to. So he tells Scotty, Uhura, and McCoy to only use their communicators and not the intercoms. And to use the sub-frequency channels and scramble. Hey, Pop Culture, are you okay?
Yeah, hanging in there. Thank you. Sorry.
No, I'm just checking. The attention to detail to stay hidden audibly is brilliant. It's something that could be forgotten, but they didn't. And we know how impressive it is that Kirk is figuring all this out so quickly, because it doesn't come to her right away. She takes a bit longer to get acclimated. And so they're making sure that the frequency is scrambled. And Kirk is asking Uhura to check the Starfleet command to figure out his exact orders. And here's this.
Captain, I'm...
Uhura, you're the only one who can do it. I'll be right there.
Yes, sir.
And having Kirk and McCoy announced that they're scouring the library computer to learn about the mirror universe is a great way to fill in their knowledge gap that the landing party has to help explain how they're able to navigate the political dynamics of this mirror universe. Of course, it doesn't teach them everything because Kirk is still surprised by a great many things. And he has to think on his feet a whole bunch in this episode. And Sulu's getting ready for genocide. Enters fridge. Well, he's very casual about it.
Yep.
Another day, another genocide.
You know. You want to burn off the atmosphere of a planet? Sure. It's Tuesday.
And so Sulu goes over to hit on Uhura, and he has this nasty scar on his face. It looks great.
Oh, and that's something that I like, that it's carried over into A Mirror Darkly when they have Trip with the Delta Ray scars.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
You are away from your post, mister.
And the cat's away.
I love all of Uhura's moments. And she also reports there's no storm damage, and that Kirk has to annihilate the Hawkins unless they comply and give up their dilithium.
I think they probably enjoyed playing these roles as their evil counterparts.
Yeah, especially Decay. He definitely looks like he's having a good time.
I feel like the captain's chair in this one, and I may be wrong, but doesn't it pop up again in the Ultimate Computer with on the bridge with?
You mean with the extra high back?
Yeah,
there it is.
The comfy captain's chair.
Yeah, it does look comfy. Well, thank you for asking the question. No. And so Scotty, it's kind of weird. The chief engineer doesn't have direct access to engineering, and he needs Sulu's permission. So
right, Sulu's the chief. That's why Sulu's wearing red in this episode. He's chief of security now.
Yes, so because of that, he has to approve of all the high security things. And so, in this universe, Sulu is above Scotty, whereas in the normal universe, Scotty it ranks above Sulu.
Yep.
Paranoia and deception are the rule of law in the Imperial Starship Enterprise.
Well, in this case, it's warranted because Scotty does want to sabotage the phaser coupling.
Jill, just a heads up. I have like 5 minutes or so.
Oh, okay. Okay, so please tell us everything else you want to say about this episode.
Oh,
the next 5 minutes are yours.
Okay, well, I don't want to jump ahead too much, obviously.
No, you can jump ahead.
I really enjoyed this episode.
We'll talk about it again.
Definitely one of my top 5 TOS favorite episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it again today in preparation. And, we spoke about a few things before we started. I mean, you guys want to bring it up later. I think it's a little too early to bring up some of the issues.
Go ahead. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
Well, we'll just talk about it again
later. I'm a little concerned at the end. Like, why was Spock waiting for them? Why was regular Spock in the transporter room when they beamed back over? Because if he was there beaming the other crew back, they didn't do anything to set that up. It didn't say Spock was researching the issue in the regular universe. As far as I've always felt, the mirror universe duplicates were still in the brig, and they just disappeared when Kirk and Uhura and them came back on the transporter.
Yeah, that's the only time we only get to see the mirror universe in the brig, so we don't see how they go from the brig to if they make it to the transporter.
I mean, the fact that Spock was there, I guess we're supposed to believe that they were on the transporter pad. But like, how would you control those 4 people to just put them on the transporter
That's
pad?
right. There was no communication between Spock and Kirk, and how would you
Yeah.
get that communication to occur so that Spock could be like, okay, I got the mirror universe counterparts here. Get ready to do the beam out.
But being it was such a high quality episode, other than that, it's the kind of thing I don't worry about.
Well, right. Yes, and it's a
I'm
lot
not
of
gonna
fun to
lose
think about
sleep
that
over
stuff.
it.
No, me neither. I love this episode so much, but
So
it's a good
this
point.
is definitely an A+ episode for me. And I mean, let's face it, it's not only me. There's all of pop culture has been affected by this episode. You have the evil universe goatee trope all throughout, science, not just science fiction, regular fiction. South Park.
Oh yeah,
all
no,
different
South
types
Park.
of
When they do it
TV
on South Park,
shows.
that is a direct reference to this episode.
Yeah, comic book, everything, things that have nothing to do with sci-fi at all. It's gone into mass appeal,
Mhm.
popular culture. So I think that's great. And
You're right. It has had a big impact.
this particular episode is probably one of the top 3
Oh,
episodes of all time to be quoted in some way in some other series. I'm just putting a number out of, the air, but I would say I feel fairly confident.
yeah. Well, what backs that up is that I have 18 clips. I don't think I've ever made that many clips for a review show. So that makes sense. There are so many good lines.
Fiona says it would be logical to assume Spock figured it out. I could understand Spock figuring it out, but does Spock have the engineering know-how to do everything? In TOS, they weren't all capable of doing everybody's job. At least, that wasn't always the way they made it be. Like, I felt there were things only Scotty could do. I felt there were things only Spock could do and things only McCoy could do. Where in TNG, like, you felt like Data and Geordi,
They were a team.
and the team were they could all pretty much do everybody's job. Like, God forbid Data wasn't around, Geordi could do it. Maybe a little slower, but Geordi would be able to figure it out. If Geordi wasn't around, Riker could do it. It would take a little longer, but he could do it eventually. And whereas in TOS, I felt like if Scotty's not there and you need a miracle, an engineering miracle, you're boned. And if McCoy's not there and you need a medical miracle, you're screwed. So,
That makes some sense.
which is why I like
there are other
TOS.
engineers, but not for miracles.
Well,
yeah, and this is why I like TOS a lot better than TNG in some ways.
Well,
everybody has
sorry.
a place. No, I'm sorry.
I just in terms of that, like, there is one cutaway further in the episode that shows the Barbarian Mirror Universe crew in the regular universe, and so that I think that would have tipped it off to Spock, and then from there, don't forget, like, our good crew has to do everything surreptitiously. They don't have the run of the ship the same way that Spock and. Ultimately, it comes down to, and something that's carried forward in that it is a transporter issue. And while it would be preferable to have Scotty there, I think Spock and Mr. Kyle could probably work something out with Sulu's sort of maneuvering through an ion storm. So when he does show up at the end, it just feels like a separate adventure that was going on in the good universe, while in the mirror universe, the good crew had to sort of lurk and be more sneaky, which makes it harder for them.
True. Yeah, I could see somebody asking Spock, well, Spock, why will, how do we know we're going to transport them at the exact same time? And Spock will say something like, it's, we have to be logical. It was there was no logic to say they would transport over at the first time. So now coming back, we'll just have to assume the universe works the way it's, will lay out the way it's intended to. Which doesn't sound logical at all when I say it out loud.
I think it would have helped if they would have shown during this episode. I think first of all, I think this would have been a fantastic 2-hour episode or a 2-parter. But it would have helped a little bit if they would have showed the struggle of what was going on in our universe with the characters and where they were syncing up the two plots together, maybe.
Yeah, probably an extra minute or two just to give us a little bit of info of what was going on.
Yeah, a little insight. That would be good.
Anyway,
I agree.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
Jill,
Thank you so much.
There's a small chance if you're still streaming, I might come back later, but
oh, you're always welcome.
I gotta go.
The link.
Take care, Bird.
Thank you. Take care,
welcome.
you guys. Pop, feel better again.
Thank you, sir.
Good
you
luck.
too. Thank you.
Kapla.
Kapla. Hail Karoga. And Matt G says, those errands better include Starbucks to Agent Pepsi 1. So, and thank you so much, Bird of Prey 5, for stopping by and sharing those amazing thoughts on this episode. And Kronos says, you could make your own coffee and save hundreds of dollars. Says Kronos. I don't know why I'm reading coffee things. Mikey says, oh yeah, okay, see, I read this one. Okay, Mikey, sorry, I did read that. Oh, okay, so I should have been here at this star. And Kronos says, who is a geeky god? I don't know. Mark Harkness says, or am I wrong in wondering if it were just mental patterns that switched?
Ooh.
What?
I don't know. I would say that it was their physical transference.
Whoa, I didn't even think about that.
Neither did I. So I had to come up with something on the fly. And that's what I got.
Well,
that's what I got. Well, no, I don't know. I have no facts to back this up.
Me neither. Admiral Teague says, think the people on the planet were some of the people in the Return of the Archons. And Kronos says, Pluto is a geeky dog.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, agreed. I don't know where he's going. Well, as we know, Kirk has General Order 24 as well. He just never goes through with using it. Exactly. The events of the warship Voyager, says Dalek 451, didn't really happen. It was just a horrible misinterpretation of the Voyager crew. Oh, okay.
I think that's true. I'm pretty sure
There's so much fun stuff that happens in Voyager. I need to revisit. Carelessness with the equipment will not be tolerated, says Jades Caserta. Oh, yes, that's why Kyle gets in trouble.
Your owie machine, please.
And Fiona says, I wish my job was just chatting about Star Trek. Me too, but this is a hobby. To be fair, I love my job, says Fiona. I just love this more. Yeah, I wish it could too.
I see people, I think some people in the chat think that I'm leaving. I'm not leaving yet. I was just saying goodbye to Bird.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Sorry for the misunderstanding, everyone.
Yeah, sorry. Pop Culture is still with us. And Bird of Prey 5 is busy, so he had to go for a bit. He said he might be back, but Pop Culture's here. Mark Harkness said, thank you for clarifying that. I hadn't gotten there yet. The Bride of Chaotica is closer to a Mirror Universe episode as it allows Janeway to ham it up, pretending to be a villain, says Mark Harkness. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's fun. The holodeck episodes. Professor Proton? Captain Proton.
Captain Proton. Yes.
I got there in the end. Miraflux is my idol, says Kronos.
Miraflux is pretty kick-ass. Yeah.
Black Mirror had already done a social credit score planet before the Orville did, but they wrote... Okay, so what happened there is Seth MacFarlane wrote the episode before Black Mirror did the episode. So Seth MacFarlane was not inspired by Black Mirror to do this episode. He was inspired by a book that talked about canceling people and the problems that happened because of that. So he got his idea from the book, and he conceptualized the story before Black Mirror released it. But since Black Mirror released the episode first, he was like, oh no, everybody's gonna think I copied that episode. But no, he didn't.
Still a fun episode of the Orville. I like it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love both episodes. They're both really great. Mark Harkness says Earth renegades capture one Vulcan ship that allows the devastated Earth to overpower the Vulcans, Andorians, Tellarites, et al. That makes no sense. Oh. Whoa, we're talking about some beta canon stuff, fun stuff.
Oh, I think he's
referring. What's Earth Renegades?
Well, no, because at the beginning of In a Mirror Darkly, it shows first contact between Earth and the Vulcans, and the Vulcans get out of their survey vessel, same as in First Contact, but then Zephram Cochrane pulls a shotgun on them.
Oh, this is from Enterprise?
Yeah. And then they take over the Vulcan survey ship, which from this supposition from Mark, it's like that one Vulcan survey ship allows a devastated Earth to overpower Vulcans, Andorians, and Tellarites. That makes no sense. It stretches credulity, I agree, but I can sort of run with it. Maybe they reverse engineered, maybe they enhanced from the technology absconded from the Vulcans.
Oh, I need to rewatch that Enterprise episode. Matt G says, yesterday I did a double header at the theater, Across the Spider-Verse and Labyrinth.
Nice.
And Franco Walker says, don't forget to subscribe, share, hit like, and select live chat. Fiona says, we never get to see Mirror McCoy's gentle bedside manner. Mm-hmm. That's true. It sounds like McCoy might have been the same person in both universes.
Well, maybe a little more irate.
Yeah, except for having to live in a universe in which he has to murder.
Right. He would have to follow regulations, which means he would have to be a bad doctor, I guess.
Yes, he would have to.
Right. You wouldn't want to cross them or he'll give you the wrong shot.
And his nurses delight in your pain.
That reminded me, we haven't seen Nurse Chapel in a while, have we?
Yeah, that would have been fun to see an evil Nurse Chapel or a Mirror Universe Chapel.
More midriffs.
Yes. I guess they didn't want to push their luck with two.
Oh, wait. Then I was mistaken at the top of the episode when I said it's all hands on deck, because we are missing Nurse Chapel.
And there you go. Ari says, to be fair, McCoy had a temper in our universe. Want to see how fast I can put you in the hospital? He wouldn't be too out of place.
No, I agree. He can handle his own.
And Fiona says, to Cardinal Sin, probably self-sustaining energy clouds of ionizing radiation moving in magnetic fields.
Hells yes. I love it.
Oh, and describing what an ion storm is. Thank you, Fiona. 1 out of 2 to go. Oh, I got to go. But I'll be lurking in the corner like the unwanted red-headed stepchild, says Gorilla's Random Thoughts.
Take care, Gorilla. See you soon.
See you, Gorilla.
Damn it, Jim. I'm a bricklayer, not a doctor, says Ari. Mikey says, laughs with Gorilla. I got a stream coming this Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Please be there on time.
Oh my.
I know, right?
I think Gorilla said that he's going to be busy with his daughter fishing.
Oh.
That sounds like a lovely day.
Oh, wait a minute. What happened to Darius?
Sounds like fun.
Something happened with Darius, and I missed it. Oh, well. I guess I missed it. Sorry. Sorry, Darius. Subscribe. Doomcock. Sulu is a naughty boy. Yeah, he is. Now we know where we were in the slides from that.
The cat's away.
Somehow, I don't think she's Sulu's type. This is classic comics. Sulu is macking on her. This really is the mirror universe. I get it. Gorilla says, Mikey, I won't be online on Saturday taking. Oh, you knew about this. It's a take kid fishing weekend and also have my daughter and then a Cub Scouts activity. Ooh, very busy. Fun weekend. Dalek451 says, Her really shined in this episode. She's amazing. And Fiona says, I forget how damn beautiful Nichelle Nichols was. Completely agree. Okay. Is Bird nitpicky now? Yeah, and we love it. That's what we're here for. I'm so happy. Fiona says, why aren't smart people's mirror counterparts really dumb? And James Caserta says, imagine how evil the mirror universe Jill would be. Yeah, you've thought that before. Fiona says, it would be logical to assume Spock figured it all out. Yes. True. And we did go into detail with that. You'll always spoil someone, says Kronos. True. And Franco Walker says, yep, it got an A+ from me too. And Mark Harkness says, Spock knew how long it would be possible to get back to our universe, but he knew if he sent the mirror Kirk back first, our Kirk would be killed.
That's what I was wondering earlier. Two can exist in the same universe, but I guess you said yes, according to Future Trek.
Yeah, according to Future Trek, it's allowed. Although there's next episode of Stargate in which there is a multiple universe kind of thing where two different of the same people from different dimensions are in the same universe, and it causes the original one to get really sick, or one of them to get sick. So they actually can't be in the same universe for very long. There's sort of time limit for it. I think that's an interesting idea for it.
Well, I have to ask the obvious question. So in the Future Trek episodes where they went into the mirror universe and their counterparts were there, did they meet? Did they fight each other? I mean, what happened?
Sometimes they fight. Sometimes they hit on each other.
Hit on each other.
Yeah.
So was it like Scotty would hit on Scotty?
It was like Kira was in love with herself.
Oh, right.
Interesting.
The mirror Kira, yeah.
Intendant Kira.
That's really in love with yourself. I guess that's taking it literally, right?
Right, exactly. But unfortunately for Cisco, his counterpart
is killed?
Does that happen eventually?
Isn't that why Smiley has to come back over and collect good Cisco?
And yeah, because Cisco has to pretend to be the bad Cisco. That happens eventually. I'm getting all my DS9 mirror episodes mixed up, but I guess it doesn't matter. You seem to know, Scotty.
I'm again, they're all sort of blending together as well. But like I think that the Deep Space Nine ones are sort of fun adventure romps, but they lose their belief. There's even a Ferengi mirror universe episode that is just like, really?
Well, I noticed that in every mirror DS9 episode, a Ferengi has to die.
Oh. Anyway. So if you're not a fan of Ferengi, go check those out.
Fiona says Spock was able to determine their plan and how long it would take for them to assess and implement it.
Well, there had to be spatial similarities so that the bridge between the two universes would be able to exist. So,
in the mirror universe, Vulcans aren't logical, says Kronos. But in this case, this mirror Spock, is logical. That's really cool. The most average person should be identical to their counterpart, says Fiona. Oh, explaining Chief O'Brien.
And well, Lieutenant Leslie.
Oh, and Kyle? Kyle seemed pretty much the same.
Yeah, poor guy. Mm-hmm.
I didn't do it, Mr. Spock. Please don't owie me.
Tony, hello, Tony. He says
Tony.
hello to one of the few shows I can catch before work.
Hey, Tony, good to see you.
Yes. Kona says Evil Scotty couldn't put Legos together. No, but how could he be chief engineer, though? I don't know.
Because he had killed the previous chief engineer.
Hmm.
He was more sinister, and he achieved his rank through deception and murder.
Gotcha. Thank you. Hmm.
Yeah, maybe that's why he needs the go ahead from chief of security, because it's like, we know you don't know what you're doing. You're gonna blow us up.
Yeah. Fiona says James Caserta, he's just being mean because you don't need laundry in the Bahamas. And Mark Harkness says, you guys don't fool me. You just wanted to see Evil Uhura put the moves on Sulu. Yeah, well, we'll see that pretty soon, hopefully. And Darius posts a link to Bird of Prey 5. Subscribe to Bird of Prey 5 at Bird of Prey 5 on YouTube. Please do. Oh, and Stream Elements. You beat Stream Elements, Darius. You rule. James Cassera says, plus, who does he think I am? I don't know. Indie Tiger's Sci-Fi Review. Hello, Indie Tiger's Sci-Fi Review. To Bird of Prey 5. Spock does say something about figuring out how to return the Mirror Crew back to where they belong. Yeah, he does mention we do have to figure out how to get you back where you belong. That's true, they do. He does. Bodies transferred while beaming out, but the clothes they're wearing didn't. That's what I wondered. Yeah, the clothes thing, that's definitely a thing. I saw the William Shatner event, says Admiralty. Great. Any event with William Shatner is awesome. And Admiralty says we've had several agonizer boosts on Saving Star Trek flagship, but they're there for my own personal use to enjoy some pain and from when PDB messes up. Hungry for Kinder Day says Anubis as a candid fulfills that to Fiona.
Anubis as a candid? Okay.
Oh, Herc 130, James Caserta likes to say that people blocked him when they didn't block him. I don't know. And Maggie says, I did 6 TNG episodes in the theater, including Best of Both Worlds.
Oh, that's really cool.
Oh, yeah. He's very proud.
Mm-hmm.
And I am very jealous. Tony says, but Friday, I'll be discussing flying cars and EHD electro grab here on Plomeek Tea Time. Yes, I can't wait for that. That's going to be so fun. Mira McCoy should technically be the same. The way Spock is pretty much the same, says Admiral Teague. In terms of their capabilities. I think their capabilities are comparable to their counterparts. Maggie says, yesterday I saw Labyrinth across Spider-Verse. If I missed it, I didn't miss it. Subscribe to Clobbering Times. And Hungry for Kinder Day says, I'm watching it in 1 minute bits. Enjoying it like a chocolate box. I do that with a lot of shows and films these days. Oh yeah, especially if they're good. You don't want to run out. Mm-hmm. Your comments on Fusion slaughtered me in a grand way, that Hungry says to Tony. And expect the same with electrograb EHD implications. All right, can't wait for that. That's gonna be fun. And Mirror Universe Admiral Teague is also an asshole. FYI, says Admiral Teague. Good to know. Let's see here. Wouldn't flying suits rather than cars be more socially efficient? Oh, that's a good question, Tony.
Bring me jetpacks.
Hungry. Yeah. Yeah, Rocketeer is one of Scotty's favorite movies.
Yeah. I don't think I'd be a very good Rocketeer, but I want a jetpack.
Mm-hmm. I think in the end, we should optimize the traffic infrastructure before we add options. Mm-hmm. Ari says, oh, now it makes sense. The information age has thrust us into the mirror universe since people can rise to the positions of power without actually having any skills or competence.
That's right, because of Henry Starling and a 29th century time ship. It crash land in 1967.
Wow. Mirror Scotty accidentally knocked the chief of engineering into the warp core, says Franco Walker.
Finger quotes, accidentally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great. Oh, and Mikey's going to talk about the MCU on Saturday.
Nice.
Very interested in that. Yes, and Indy Tigers is correct. Sulu is hetero. When the reboot movies made him gay, George Takei was pissed because his character is not gay, even though he is.
Mm-hmm.
That is very true. Okay, so let's see what. Oh man, we've been on this slide for a while, haven't we?
We
so
have.
even though Scotty is told not to use the intercom, this is actually a very clever use of the intercom to tell Kirk there's no damage to the phaser, and that'll seem fine to everyone else on board, but to Kirk, that'll tell him that Scotty has not yet been able to go in to sabotage the phaser coupling yet.
Sabotage.
Yes. And so Sulu's ready to fire, but Kirk is very obviously trying to stall in order to prevent having to destroy the Halkin people, which is good that he's stalling for that. But it does put his landing party in jeopardy if they're found out. And this is the risk that Kirk makes in order to preserve the peaceful ideals of Starfleet. Kirk does what is right, even or especially when it's difficult, or it could have a big cost. So
he's looking ragged.
He gives him 12 hours. Oh, this guy?
Yes.
Yes.
He's not happy.
I like it. He looks very haggard, like they've been torturing him.
Yes, that is a good point. Because he doesn't look like that at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, like they're wearing him down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they might have. Who knows? Maybe they used the agonizer on him. Mirror Spock is detailing that cost. He's saying that the Halkins have divided the Empire, and by not annihilating them, Kirk is putting himself in the same position as the Halkins.
"12 hours or 1,200, it will make no difference."
Mm-hmm. But Chekhov, he pushes some buttons, he leaves.
Well, and has a very good reason for doing so. It's great to see. It's great to see that sort of understanding. It's like when you defied the Empire, no one's going to ask if you're killed. It'll work out fine.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. So you die and we all move up in rank. No one will question the assassination of a captain who has disobeyed prime orders of the Empire. Exactly. Oh, captain's log. Okay, so Patty, can you read the next captain's log?
Captain's log supplemental. I command an enterprise where officers apparently employ private henchmen among the crew, where assassination of superiors is common means of advancing in rank.
Yes, but unfortunately for Chekhov, one of his men turned against him, taking his weapon and shooting the other guy. And all that happens.
All of that, yes. They fight. They
Lots
fight.
of death.
They fight. They fight. They fight.
Lots of death in this episode. It's like not important characters, but it's important to note that life is not highly valued in the mirror universe. And this man, I guess he doesn't have a name, but he turns against Chekhov to win Kirk's favor. And of course, Kirk can very adroitly play into it, saying that he's going to turn the man into an officer, maybe a captain.
You can make me an officer. All right. You're working for me. A commission? You're in line. You might even make captain. Yes, sir. Not on my ship.
And so this shows that Shatner does a really great job of being commanding, but also in his acting, in his performance, he only very slightly betrays that he has no idea really what he's doing. He's just going through the motions as best he can. Like when he agrees to send Chekhov to the booth, it's pretty clear he has no idea what the booth is. Sure, send him to the booth. Carry on.
A lot of agony machines. Invest in agony if you find yourself in the mirror universe. It's a growth industry.
Yeah, I'm sure it has some parts that you need to make it. And so Scott reports that Sulu is security chief, like the ancient Gestapo. And McCoy says that his sick bay is like a chamber of horrors. His assistants are betting on the tolerance of an injured man to see how long it'll take for him to pass out from pain. And I like how they make the computer male in the mirror universe. Fun contrast. No, but then of course that means no means she'll bear it. And the detail that they put their research under voice print. So the detail that they put their research under the voice print of Kirk or Scott to prevent Spock from accessing it is pretty good. I'm glad they do that. Pretty smart. So they do a great job of covering their tracks in this episode. And this is how Kirk finds out if he can artificially create the same conditions that happened with the Iron Storm and the transporter so that they could return to their own universe.
Well, and another reference to Captain Pike we get as well in terms of how Kirk assumed command of the Enterprise, saying that the assassination of Christopher Pike.
Yes. That's true too. Absolutely.
I'm a doctor, not an engineer.
No, you're an engineer.
And like Scotty said, McCoy wants to know what kind of people they are. So Kirk looks up the mirror counterparts' records, and the computer says Captain James T. Kirk succeeded to command ISS Enterprise through assassination of Captain Christopher Pike. First action, suppression of Gorlin Uprising through destruction of Rebel home planet. Second action, execution of 5,000 colonists on Vega 9. So there you
The
go.
Vega colony.
Yeah, so the references are fun in this episode. So he had to kill Captain Pike to get his command. And Scotty explains the trouble they might encounter with Sulu when they carry out that plan. The plan to artificially create the conditions that cause that transporter accident, to cause them artificially instead. And so Scotty says, we have to lay in the automatic transporter setting, but when we interrupt the engine circuits to tie the power increased to the transporter. It'll show up on Sulu's security board. Of course, we'll only need a second, so Kirk says Uhura will create a diversion to keep Sulu from looking at his board.
There is one way.
Mm-hmm. And so we went through all this, but now I have to go through the slides. I should have been stepping through the slides as I was talking, but since I didn't, now we're just looking through all the things I just said. And he also a bunch of people. Mayor Kirk did anyway. Oh, and here we go. This is great. This is one of the best parts of the episode. A funny part where we get to see Mirror Universe Kirk, McCoy, Scotty, and Uhura in the brig. And a furious duplicate Captain Kirk is being manhandled into the brig. And I think this is a really great exchange. I don't know. You want to do it?
What do we got? Yeah.
Okay, give me just a second here.
Sure. I order you, let me go. Shatner hamming it up, chewing all of the scenery. Loving it.
Okay, so Scotty can be Captain Kirk. Pop culture carrier can be Spock. If you want. Would you like?
Are we good?
No. Wait a minute. Not yet.
Okay.
I've got to put all of these in here. I have a few. Not too many.
Our local theater presents a dramatic retelling of the Star Trek episode Mirror Mirror.
Okay, now we're ready. Go for it.
You traitorous pig! I'll hang you up by your broken ears. I'll have you all executed.
I think not. Your authority on this ship is extremely limited, Captain. The four of you will remain here in the brig and in custody until I discover how to return you to wherever it is you belong.
Has the whole galaxy gone crazy? What kind of uniform is this? Where's your beard? What's going on? Where's my personal guard?
I can answer none of your questions at this time.
All right, Spock. Whatever your game is, I'll play it. You want credits? I'll give them to you. You'll be a rich man. A command of your own, I can swing that too.
Apparently, some kind of transposition has taken place. I find it extremely interesting.
Spock, what is that? Spock, what is it that will buy you? Power?
Fascinating.
Power, Spock. I can get that for you.
I like it because Spock isn't intimidated at all. He's just fascinated and interested in what's going on.
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
Yes, it's awesome. It's so wonderful.
Spock, what is it that will buy you? Power.
Fascinating.
Power, Spock. I can get that for...
He does it so much better than I do.
No, but y'all did great. I really loved getting that whole scene. Because obviously if I played that whole scene, that would definitely be a claim, a copyright claim. And it's just a wonderful scene. It makes you wish we saw more of what was happening on that ship. And I love the way that Mirror Spock is written too.
Laying on the menacing charm, laying it on thick.
Yeah, he does. He gets to definitely play a completely different character with Mirror Kirk. But I do like that Mirror Spock is just as logical as the regular our Spock.
Well, and I like how his personal guard is another Vulcan as well.
Yeah, that's true. And also that he prefers being second in command, as that makes him less of a target and allows him to keep pursuing science. And then we get the agony booth. I wasn't going to clip this, but you were disappointed last night that you missed Chekhov in the agony booth.
He's a great scream.
The agony booth is a most effective means of discipline.
With new effects.
The only effect I will ever need is Walter Koenig screaming. Love it.
And he did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I should check out the original to see what the difference is.
You.
Okay, we're not there yet. Sorry. But yes, Chekhov screaming. There's the agony booth. And Spock continues telling Kirk the truth of the matter, that Kirk's actions go against the Empire, so there will be consequences, because Spock won't put his own position at risk. Of course, there was more screaming. I didn't get all of the screaming, Scotty.
No, that's fine. It would become grating after a while. It's savored in small chunks.
Yes.
See, I don't know which is worse, because he's like, do you want me to... how long do you want to leave him in the agony booth? Because his actions warrant death. So they're just going to leave him in the agony booth, and it's like, he should die. We should kill him. And Kirk's like, nah. Like, good Kirk is like, nah, leave him in the agony booth. Have him writhe for a while.
Well, by the end of the scene, or before the end of the scene, he does say, release him and send him to his quarters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like keep him imprisoned in his quarters.
But not specifically secured within the agony booth. Okay, I missed that part. Good.
Yeah, you did. You missed the screaming and the release. Yeah, so Spock wants to make sure that, well, he knows that his captain's not behaving correctly. And
You would find me a formidable enemy.
I'm aware of that, Captain. I trust that you are aware of the reverse.
Ooh.
I know, like I couldn't express that myself. The episode does such a better job.
Terror must be maintained. Fear will keep the remaining systems in line. Fear of this battle. No, wait. Never mind. Wrong franchise.
See, there it is. Release Chekhov. Confine him to quarters.
There it is. Good. Cool.
Yeah. And so they take Scott and McCoy take out the guard so they can work in engineering.
And again, I love the secondary engineering sort of room. I like this, how it overlooks the main engineering deck.
Yeah, this is
great.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I love it too. And Kirk goes back to his quarters and he finds a woman on his bed taking a nap. She was taking a nap anyway. She doesn't see she doesn't see Kirk's actions as just a defiance of the Empire. She thinks that Kirk actually has some grand master plan regarding the Halkins. So Kirk plays along with that.
I think it's the only pleasant surprise for Kirk in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Is his captain's woman.
Exactly. So it's apparently Barbara Luna had strep throat and 103-degree fever. So her kissing scenes with Shatner were postponed for 2 weeks. And during her illness, she actually lost a couple of pounds. So they had to come up with a new costume to hide I guess the weight loss was drastic enough to have to re-costume her. And so Thais put her in a bikini, but covered up the bikini with the drape. And that's according to These Are the Voyages, TOS Season 2, page 236, and one of the TV guides, Volume 44, number 34, issue 2265. And Mirror Spock calls to tell Kirk that if he doesn't destroy the Halcyon, Spock is ordered to destroy him. So that's really good of him to warn Kirk. And it's really weird when you think of Mirror Mirror. You think, oh, they're all just evil versions of our own universe. Well, while the government and the military of the military universe are evil in their wanton destruction and disregard for life, nothing is wholly evil, just as nothing is wholly good. So that's why this episode is amazing to me, because it sees that nuance and it portrays Spock, who knows he lives in a cutthroat world but prefers to keep Kirk around for his safety. Yes, but you also still feel that they have some sort of friendship still.
That's what I was thinking. They still have the loyalty as friends.
Yeah, that hasn't gone away, and I think that's part of the magic of this episode. That's still there. But we have a bunch of chat, so let's see what's going on with the chat. What do you say? I gotta find my star. Where is it? Oh, thank you. Hungry for Kinder Days says no to Kronos. That's cheap CW Anubis crap. Okay. And Adam Teague. All right. Yes. We did read something like that already. And Kronos didn't watch Stargate SG-1. I am slightly on a mild crusade to get people to watch Stargate SG-1. So please watch it.
Mild?
Well, I haven't ramped it up, is what I mean. I haven't talked too much about it. I've only talked to you about it. So now I'm telling Kronos to watch Stargate SG-1. How do you get your mythology from Stargate SG-1 if you didn't watch it, Kronos? I'm confused. Right in his universe, but in the mirror universe, he should have killed them all, says Resolute Germ. And Tony says, right now, only the few who could afford personal flight, will be in a car or suit, could fly pretty free range under the 100-foot line. But as time passes, some new method of air traffic control. Yeah, that's right. So, and transportation would have to be implied and put in place, and the DMB will have to streamline piloting licenses, as both iterations would be considered aircraft. Yeah, that's the thing right now. You pretty much got to be a pilot if you want to fly. Makes sense. AI Show says Chekhov was a lot more interesting than usual in this episode. And Hungry says, I dig Stargate, but its interpretation of mythology was execrable. And Cronus says, you mean sci-fi isn't real all the time? Fiona says, part of that is easy. Getting your pilot's license is 80% weather, 10% emergency landing, so you wouldn't need to learn either. Who has a pilot's license? Not me. I cannot fly.
Me neither. I have this crazy theory, though, that if we switched over from horses to horseless carriages nowadays, they probably would have been kiboshed in the development stage because of a general distrust and hope for safety of the general population. So getting, your average person who wants to buy a Volvo airborne, I think that is something that we were promised in the 60s. It will never come to fruition.
Yeah, the Jetsons did promise me.
Yep.
Wraith Wolf says, the episode that created a universe, I enjoyed the ones from DS9. Oh, hey, Wraith Wolf, great to see you here. And Herc130 says an agonizer is just earbuds that plays every episode of STD on a loop that they have to listen to all. Oh no, that would be
That's the
terrible.
ultimate agonizer, yes.
Yeah, especially for Pop Culture Curator who has avoided it completely.
Yeah, I know it only through Bird of Prey.
Mm-hmm. Tony says to keep to flying vehicles on sci-fi, understanding their aircraft that leads to engineering concepts such as steering column on the bearing to become like H-bar handle. Like an H-bar handle when on the air. Oh man, I'm gonna have to look at all these comments later so I can do some more research.
Oh,
because I gotta be able to talk to Tony about this stuff on Friday. Franco Walker says that's what I was referencing. The computer says ISS, but the outside of the ship says USS. And every day is Happy Shat Day. Happy Shat Day.
Yeah, Happy Shat Day to all of us.
Wraith Wolf says, have any of you read any of the books or expanded universe stuff about this, where they talked about what happens to Mirror Universe Spock after these events?
not me.
Yeah, me neither. I want to.
A long time ago, so I don't recall. And they were the Shatnerverse, so they are pretty much like fanfic. Like they are. If you get worried about member berries and anything else in Star Trek, the William Shatnerverse is wow. It is basically just a. Did you see this? You remember this? This is good, huh? Remember this from this? So
sometimes that's fun.
It is fun. Like I read it when I was like in high school, so I was having a blast with it because it was sort of a reward to knowing all that stuff. But I don't recall the general plot line or what happened to Mirror Spock. I only know what happened to Mirror Spock as per crossover in DS9.
I think for me it was because it wasn't canon. I did read the Star Trek books back in the day when I was young, the James Blish novels, but I even understood then they weren't canon.
Mm. And Fiona says Star Trek TOS never used the Wilhelm scream, but the movies did use it.
Yes.
Oh, so yeah, so we got actually Chekhov screaming. Who Admiral Teague says Chekhov is good at screaming. He does it to get great effect in the motion picture and The Wrath of Khan.
Yes.
Star Trek 4. He did a little bit when he fell off the that platform, whatever that was on the Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
You could rip off his fake facial hair, says Kronos.
Well, isn't that the same facial hair as Lazarus?
Is it the same one?
What of
Did they just trim it?
Yeah,
Is
a little more trimmed.
Do you actually, is that for real though? Is that really Lazarus's beard?
Well, I'm not saying it's the exact same hair, but I'm saying it's
okay.
pretty much the same design and style.
That's kind of funny. I didn't think about that because that is such a terrible episode. But you're right. That was kind of an alternate universe episode with the antimatter universe.
Right, except the hair was longer.
And the fact that one side was good and one side was bad.
Mm-hmm.
So even though that was a terrible episode, hopefully it inspired this a little bit.
You're right. Right. I hadn't thought of that either, but it is. It kind of hints on two universes, one evil, one bad.
Admiral Teague says, "There's my favorite special effect in this episode: Kirk's girlfriend,
Marlena Moreau, who I absolutely have something about Marlena when we get to the end of the episode."
Oh. Fiona says Mirror Universe Gorn are cuddly iguanas. Oh, they seem sweet. Mark Harkness says this is the other TOS episode used to create Trials and Tribulations.
Well, Mark beat me to it. All right.
Oh, sorry.
No, don't apologize. It's great.
Great.
What does he mean? I'm sorry. What does he mean by they used scenes from it or clips from it or what?
At the very end, when they get back to the regular universe, Lieutenant Moreau has Kirk sign a duty roster. Or something.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They replaced her with Cisco, right?
Yep.
Yes.
That's right.
Which has an interesting context in the Trials and Tribulations, because when Uhura sees Marlena in the real universe, she's sort of taken aback and sort of stunned that Marlena is on the Enterprise. They just never really knew who she was until that moment, because they meet her in the mirror universe. But if you watch Trials and Tribulations, it looks like she's checking out Cisco and being like, damn, that is a fine looking man.
Hey, that's nice that works out that way.
Mm-hmm.
And Dalek451 says, so we have a beaver to thank for such a lovely and flattering outfit. Nice.
Yes, that's how you get your beach body. Strep throat.
Cronus says, is it logical to pull on Anti-Spock's fake facial hair? And the AI show says, you note printed sources for the info? I applaud you for your citations. Well, the internet did the work for me, but I do kind of prefer it if I can find a source that is better than if I can't. If I can't, I will say that I can't. Or yeah. But definitely don't always believe everything you read on the internet if you can't find a secondary source. Secondary sources are very important. Bet Shatner couldn't wait for those 2 weeks to be over, says Fiona. Oh, okay. Scotty said I'll be right back at some point, but I don't know.
I did, but I came back.
You did? I didn't even know you were gone.
Batman.
Krona says a correction. I did see Stargate, SG-1, and the others. All right. Okay, so I don't need to hound you about that then. Just Scotty. The AI show says The Agonizer. Perfect title for a reality about dating disasters. Yeah, people have enough trouble handling 2 dimensions. Don't give them 3. And Fiona says, I loved Stargate SG-1, a legit spiritual successor to TOS. Liked Atlantis, but it was missing something that SG-1 can't put my finger on it. Yeah, I liked Atlantis too, but you're right, there was something off about it. But I still liked it. It was better than the universe.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm still mad at Stargate for ripping off Star Trek 6.
You got to get over that and watch the TV show. You've got
the TV show. I do have the TV show. It's true.
You do. You should watch it. And RDA, Richard Dean Anderson. Yes, especially for Richard Dean Anderson. That's all the motivation you need to watch that show. Okay. Yes, Admiral Teague. Oh, Admiral Teague says he read that book. Spock tried to reform the Empire, but I read that book a long time ago, and that's as much as I recall, says Admiral Teague. And Chrono says, I hate you, South Park. I don't hate South Park. Fiona says, I liked Rodney and even loved him sometimes. He really came in to dominate the show. SG-1 was more legit ensemble. Once Weir left, I started closing interest. Yeah, exactly. Once she left and she became some kind of ether in the universe traveling around without a body or something, that's probably where Atlantis dropped off. Wraith Wolf says Spock pretty much became the emperor for a while before he was overthrown. Basically, he became a good guy after this. And Franco Walker says, member berries.
My favorite kind of jam.
Star Trek used the Wilhelm scream. When?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. Somebody in the chat did say that they did. I don't know. I'm not good. I don't know. Scotty doesn't know. If Scotty doesn't know something, I don't know it either.
Scotty doesn't know.
Subscribe to Canadian Spider-Man.
Just posted a video about Say Wataneo, my favorite place in Shawshank Redemption.
Me too. I made a Shawshank quote on that comment on that video. And Fiona says, I love Seth MacFarlane's rendition of Kirk's taste of Armageddon speech. Another very culturally influential episode. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, the Orville did a lot of really wonderful things in seasons 1 and 2. And Mark Harkness says, while Barbara Luna appeared in New Voyages, playing the 20th century woman who finds a time-displaced Matt Decker and nurses him back to health and helps him live his life in the past.
Ooh, I'll have to check that one out.
Kronos is curious. If a Spock and anti-Spock shake hands, will the universe go boom?
I don't think so. It's not Time Cop.
Yeah, and this is also not the alternative factor, thank goodness.
Yes, because what of Lazarus? And what of Lazarus?
He's stuck in the hallway forever, I think.
Still, to this day.
Yeah, right now. And Nemesis of Eden, hello, great to see you.
Hey, Nemesis.
South Park is one of the most important shows on television when it comes to freedom of speech. And I agree. Hungry for a Kinder Day says, great show and chat, guys, but 5:34 and finally sleepy. So I'll listen and pass out to smiling to your voices. Thank you, Hungry, for hanging out with us.
Night, Hungry. Have a great night, Hungry. Or a great day, I guess.
Yes, have a great day. Right, it's daytime by the time he's getting to sleep. And they never shake hands. They do the Vulcan salute. Hey, good point, Wraith Wolf.
Very good point.
And so we have another captain's log, Stardate unknown. We are trapped in a savage parallel universe from which we must escape within 4 hours, or I will face a death sentence at Mr. Spock's hands. And there it is. What's really cool is that Marlena isn't just there for romantic purposes, although she is, but also to help further explain the mirror world to Kirk, kind of like an analog to give him the ideals of the mirror universe, which is that friends and colleagues can turn to enemies at any moment, and even a kind act like Spock's warning that he may have to kill him has, in Marlena's mind, turned Spock into that enemy that Kirk must kill. And Kirk is faced again with that potential for an evil act, and again, he maintains command while not going against his own principles. And so, in that sense, we learn about the Tantalus field.
I wonder if this is a derivative from the Tantalus colony.
That is a good point. This is... So they behave like pirates, they steal and they murder, and they got this Tantalus device that erases enemies. And you're right, Tantalus, we've been on Tantalus before. That's
We brought this up, this scene when we were watching that episode.
Mm-hmm. The episode with the brainwashing machine. Dagger of the Mind.
And obviously, this is a routine situation that Kirk employs. How many enemies have you simply wiped out of existence?
How many enemies have you simply wiped out of existence by the touch of a button? 50? 100?
The 60s hair.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so she picks up that Kirk is confident despite how he is actually just playing along with the situation. So Shatner is showing that Kirk is also a good actor.
How does Marlena fit in?
How does Marlena want to fit in?
But this is the part of the episode where our ticking clock ticks a little faster. At first, they have 3 hours left, but then, wait, we're still here. My slides. I have a lot of slides. I really like this picture of Spock. It's beautiful.
The quiet contemplation of a Vulcan at work.
Right before, it looks like she wants to kill him. She's like, let me kill him. Press it, and he dies. But no.
The willingness to just absolutely, all right, they're in the way. Kill them. Kill them.
Right. They're in the way. That's why you have to kill him. It's like a matter of fact kind of thing. It doesn't bother her whatsoever. She says the only way she shows that it bothers her, she says, I hate that machine. And Kirk says, it's not so bad, before he knows what it is. And so they have 3 hours left, but Scotty brings that deadline down to 30 minutes. So that makes the episode even more tense and more exciting.
The two-way matter transmission affected the local field density between the universes, and it's increasing. We've got to move fast.
And of course, it's their only chance because it's always their only chance. But that's the kind of drama that I like, through the adventure of the story. And that part's thrilling. And Mirror, Spock, and Sulu are realizing now that Kirk and Scott have computer research hidden by their voice code. So Mirror, Spock is figuring these things out.
But yes, we are booking it double plus quick.
Yeah, they're both Mirror Spock and Mirror Sulu. They're suspicious. And Sulu is more concerned because he knows Kirk's enemies disappear. Even though he doesn't know about the Tantalus gene yet. But he knows that happens. And even when Mirror, Spock, and Sulu are coming together in their suspicions against Kirk, Spock knows he also has to be worried about Sulu.
But if it should befall me, I suggest you remember that my operatives would avenge my death. And some of them are Vulcans.
And of course, that makes you wonder how Vulcans are in the Mirror universe.
Well, they make it sound like they're very bad.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does. This next scene. What is going on in this scene?
There it is. This is after she lost the weight.
Oh. Marlena is acting like Kirk wants to break up with her, even though he made no indication of this. And then they kiss.
Right. This is after she was sick.
Right. She had strep throat.
And they wanted to make sure he didn't catch it.
Mm-hmm. And so it's like this scene is just here to show how Marlena advances in rank using sex, just the same way that Chekhov does using murder. So I guess that's what the scene is for.
The captain's couch.
Mm.
But yes, the manipulation from Marlena. Not necessarily the manipulation, but definitely wanting to be the captain's woman and stand. Oh, yeah, I forgot. She nearly Tantalus Fields Kirk as he leaves.
Oh, does she consider that?
Looks like she does.
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't trust her around that.
Well, and that's the other thing is like sometimes there's the impetus to, okay, we have to get back to our time, our universe, whatever. But in this one, I don't even think that it's an option to be able to stick around just because of the treachery of the people around you. You could be killed at any moment, especially if you're a person in power.
Yeah, and if you have that device, it's over.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't even know it.
And so Scotty's sending the signal that he's got everything ready to go to power the transporter, because the transporter needed increase of power. So I always love a scene with Scott in the Jeffries tubes.
Mm-hmm.
And he signals Uhura. And so I think that's also what Marlena is for. It's so that it is believable that Uhura would suddenly change her mind about Sulu and why he's so ready to believe her.
See, and this is where I was curious if this is how Sulu got the scar in the first place. Did he receive that from Uhura? And this push and pull, is this a dynamic that always existed on the bridge before in the Mirror Universe?
It seems like Uhura's also playing it on the fly in terms of saying that this is the kind of game that they do.
Mm-hmm.
Does this mean that Sulu in our universe always at the hospital Uhura and just never acted on it?
Well, in Naked Time, he does call her a fair maiden.
Now you're making sense.
I was getting bored. Of course, this isn't the time.
Any time's a good time.
I'm afraid I changed my mind again.
Oh, love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I had to clip all of her parts where she does this stuff.
This is probably
so great.
This is probably her best scene in the entire series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then after that, Uhura is threatened. She pulls her dagger from her boot, which was a really cool scene too. I didn't get that one.
Yep, she's tough.
But Sulu is adequately distracted from his board.
Mm-hmm. Right, and that was the whole point.
Mm-hmm. Looks like Tony's got to kick it.
Oh, okay. Bye, Tony. Have a great day at work.
Take care, Tony.
And I think Franco left as well.
Oh, bye, Franco.
I think.
If you're still listening. It was great to see you out there.
Mm-hmm. So there we are.
So
Busted.
Yeah, Mirror Spock knows when there's something wrong with his captain. And it's just been occurring since the whole universe exchange happened. And Mirror Spock knows that Kirk in both universes is pretty stubborn. But apparently McCoy is also similar in both universes and that makes some sense because they're both healers. So they both have a softness. He says Dr. McCoy has a plentitude of human weakness, sentimental, soft. And so that's what leads everybody to sickbay.
Yeah, the stunt man. It's the stunt sequences. I mean, it looks great from a distance, which is why the camera pulled back. But I mean, the guy who was playing Spock looks nothing like him. He even has curly hair.
Yes, even I noticed. And I don't notice any of the production stuff. So you're right. Oh, and hello in the chat to Rancor Steve. I just saw.
Hello,
I
Rancor
haven't gotten back
Steve.
to the. I'm not back in the chat just yet, Rancor Steve, but I will be back in the chat in a little bit.
Hey, Steve.
I like to get through some of the episode.
Oh yeah, double foot to the solar plexus. Kirk Fu. Punch,
Oh
punch.
yeah, I like it when you describe the fight scenes for me.
You know what? I wish I had prepared for this
Mhm.
one, but it is an all-out brawl.
Wouldn't you think Spock would use the nerve pinch?
Oh, that's a good point. Except
Right here, he grabs Kirk by the shoulders and pushes him back. And I was thinking, is he going to give him the pinch? But he doesn't.
Is it possible that? Well, no, it's not because he uses the mind meld. It's not possible that.
But it would
these
be the
weapons-
ideal way to take them all down quickly.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
Well, but one of the reasons that the Vulcans...
See, right there, he has the opportunity to give him the pinch, but he doesn't.
Yeah, right. You're right, Scotty, too, that they use the pinch so that they don't have to be violent. And so this Spock doesn't mind being violent. But it also does make sense to use it because it's so effective.
Right, and he's having to, especially because he's having to combat 4 or 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Even Uhura, poor Uhura.
Right?
She does her best.
Just throwing fools around the sick bay.
I got a lot of clips of this. I was just mashing the screenshot button for this. Wow.
And when all else fails, Kirk picks something up.
Yeah, and smashes them on the head.
Yep.
It's a classic, I'm going to smash this on your head. It's a skull, apparently. A sick bay model, I guess.
Or maybe it's one of McCoy's victims.
Oh, wow. And so Spock is unconscious. There's 15 minutes left to get out of this universe, and it's... And
I like
so
McCoy cares just as much as if it was their Spock. He even says so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does. Even though the time is tight and they don't have much time, he still wants to help. Save his life.
Much to the shock of Marlena.
Yeah, she's just a voyeur here.
Well, this is where she's finding out what's going on. Or she's starting to realize that that's not her Captain Kirk.
Hmm. Oh, yes. And that explains how she ends up in the transporter room later. Good point, Pop Culture. And so Mr. Sulu appears with some henchmen. His plan might have worked, too.
If it hadn't been for these kids and their damned dog.
And yeah, or the Tantalus field. The only reason he fails is because Marlena takes out his henchman with the Tantalus device.
Well, and it's the perfect setup because, as Spock said to Sulu earlier, they would avenge my death. But if it looks like it was Kirk who did the killing, then Sulu's off.
And I have to tell you, that this device makes people disappear because I can't really capture how it happens in motion. I guess I could have, but it would have taken a lot more frames.
It's okay. I think most of the people here have seen.
Right? I know, right? Everybody's seen the episode. We're okay. You're right. But now there's only 10 minutes left, and McCoy says he just needs 5 with Spock. Uh-oh. No. Okay, so we actually don't have to worry about that. We're good.
Great.
But that does mean if you guys have to go, I'll understand. So just let me know. But I don't think you guys do. You're okay. And so McCoy heals Spock.
I think this scene is great too because it shows him McCoy's not a violent man. And he knows that Spock is squeezing him just hard enough where he knows Spock means business.
Mm-hmm.
Because at first he looks down at his wrist like he's surprised at how much Spock is squeezing it.
Yeah, right. So he's getting an involuntary mind meld here. And the book has something about it. The Spock of our universe once described the Vulcan mind meld as a highly personal thing to the Vulcan people. Although he would perform mind melds with many different species, even a few machines, Spock virtually always asked permission before he pressed his fingers against a meldee's head. The reasons are twofold. For one thing, melding always carries a risk. It can be physically draining to both parties, even painful, and when linking with the dynamic mind, there is the chance that one or the other individual might find it difficult to let go. The other reason has to do with ethics. When a link is forced upon an unwilling individual, there is little moral distinction between the mental duress the melder causes his or her victim and an act of physical violation. Because of the Mhm.
Valeris in Star Trek 6, that's pretty much what he does to her.
Exactly. Because of the savage world in which he exists, the Mirror Universe Spock has no compunction about forcing his way into McCoy's mind. He needs the information, and he needs it now. It's hard to imagine our universe's Spock behaving in this manner, except that he does so, not only in one, but two of the Star Trek movies, forcing his Katra or living spirit into McCoy's mind in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, and dragging the names of collaborators from the mind of his traitorous protege in Valeris in Star Trek VI, Undiscovered Country. Cool. That's true. Every time I read from the book, I got to fix my document. So Marlena is waiting at the transporter, so let's get to that part. There she is. So she was paying attention on the Chancellor's machine, so that's how she knows to be here. And she wants to go where Kirk does, huh?
I'm sorry, Jill. I just got called away.
Oh, okay. Wait. Do you have a moment to give your final review for the episode, or do you have to dash like right now?
Well, I was going to give it a B, but then I saw the Deadly Years were next week, so I give this an A. It's great. The only thing that really dropped it to a B for me is just like, so seriously, they have to be in the same place at the same time to cross over. But I think that the chat actually helped me through that, so I am very understanding of it, and it actually strengthens this episode as opposed to the Deep Space Nine or further adventures in the Mirror Universe. But yeah, this is one of the most memorable, iconic Star Trek episodes of all time. I love it. It's great. And I was actually just, even in my own mind, I was sort of downgrading it just to be contrary against myself. But I can't do it.
No.
I can't stand by my guns on that one. So I give it an A. It's great. I love it. And thank you so much for letting me talk about it with you guys.
You're welcome. I wish you could have stayed because we had another play at the end just coming up right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I appreciate it, but I do have to jet. So thank you again.
Yeah, I do understand you have to go.
Thank you, chat, and best of luck, Pop. I can't wait to see you again in the future.
Thank you, Scotty. See you soon.
See you guys.
See you next time. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Jill. Bye.
Bye.
I don't know. It's starting to look like I may not be able to go to the hospital today. I've got stuff I got to do. I got some phone calls I need to make. I may have to postpone to tomorrow.
That sounds like my grandma. She said I'm too sick to go to the hospital.
Me too. I it's not something I'm looking forward to. It's not like, it's an amusement park.
No.
But I got a few phone calls because I returned my car last week to Hertz.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I returned it, they billed me anyway, and I've got to find out why. And so I've got a few. I need to get some dog food, I'm thinking, because I don't know how long I'm going to be in the hospital. I want to make sure my dogs have plenty of food. So I think I might go in tomorrow. So if that's the case, just if anybody's listening, I guess I'll do the horror stream tonight.
Oh, you will? Okay, so you're going to do Friday night? What is it?
Right, I'll do the horror sci-fi stream, and I'll go into. I won't be able to do Gilligan's Island tomorrow, unfortunately. And I do miss the Castaways because I love Gilligan's Island. I feel like I'm cheating But yeah, I'm gonna probably do personal business today, and then I'll go into the hospital tomorrow. I'm sure I can survive one more day.
Mhm.
Thank you, Admiral Teague.
Well, I hope you survive many, many years instead of just one day.
I know, and I know I shouldn't keep putting it off, but
Right.
it's a hospital and it's surgery. I mean, who would be in a hurry to do that, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't be in a hurry either. But
yeah, that's good then. Okay, everybody, Fright Night tonight on my horror sci-fi stream at 6 p.m. Pacific time if you can be there.
yes. Yes, and hello to Wes Cagle. He says, have a good one to Scotty. And okay, great. You're going to have your horror stream. That's good to know. And Marlena is here. She not getting what she wants. She raises her phaser, but before she can even think to do anything, her disarms her quickly. So this is another great.
And we get her with the phaser. Finally.
Yes, exactly. I don't even think of the fact that you don't normally see the female officers with phasers.
Mm-hmm. Or in danger.
So Scott says, I can get us the power, but the automatic setting is linked to the transporter main. If we bypass, that means someone has to operate the controls manually. Oh wait, I'm not showing any of the slides.
There we go.
Yeah, there we are. Fixed it. Okay, so I think I'm going to get through the episode and then I will get back to the chat. And yes. So of course Scotty tries to volunteer and then Kirk overtakes the responsibility. And then Spock makes it. And this is the amazing part where Mirror Spock appears. So okay, so we could still do this. We can still okay, let me get these in here and I can be Spock and you can be Kirk.
Sounds good.
Okay, great. Okay, so I just got to enter it in here. And I'm just getting this ready. I need to figure out a better way of doing this, but this is the way that I figured out for now.
I think you're doing great.
Thanks. Oh, this is probably the best part of the episode. Which is why when I get to the end of the episode, sometimes I can't figure out exactly what to say. So sometimes the episode does a better job. Oh my goodness. There's so much stuff in between.
And it would be interesting to see how the reaction would be if the two Spocks meet.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so when we get to the slashes, pause for a minute. Because I'm going to put some slashes in there. This will be a barrier for the next, because I got some notes when we get to slashes. All right, almost there. Okay, so then in my cabin, there's a device that'll make you invincible. All right, so then Kirk says this. All right, I think we're ready now.
Okay.
So, wait, where does it start?
Right after Scotty says, "Be right back."
Yes. Okay, so Spock says, I cut the transporter power. It was necessary to delay your beam out until I could arrive. Take him. Engineering, reactivate main transporter circuits.
You're a man of integrity, both in both universes, Mr. Spock.
You must return to your universe. I must have my captain back. I shall operate the transporter. You have 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
In that time, I have something to say. How long before the Halcyon prediction of galactic revolt is realized?
Approximately 240 years.
The inevitable outcome?
The empire shall be overthrown, of course. And so, my notes for this is that the Halkins have apparently done the math on how long the empire will last, but I wonder, how did Kirk know about this? Did they make a similar prediction for Starfleet, or?
Well, that's a good question. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, maybe that Starfleet will last longer because they're peaceful, and so it makes me want to go ask the Halkins and see what's going on with that.
Yes, exactly. Well, and did the Federation end, or did it turn peaceful? Did they realize that, kind of like the Soviets, where they didn't, totally change, but they dropped the Iron Curtain.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know either. But let's finish this dialogue.
Okay. Kirk says, the logic of waste, Mr. Spock, the waste of lives, potential, resources, time. I submit to you that your empire is illogical because it cannot endure. I submit to you are illogical to be willing part of it.
You have 1 minute, 23 seconds.
If change is inevitable, predictable, beneficial, doesn't logic demand that you be part of it?
One man cannot summon the future.
But one man can change the present. Be the captain of this enterprise, Mr. Spock. Find a logical reason for sparing the Halgans and make it stick. Push till it gives. You can defend yourself better than any man on the fleet. In the fleet. Sorry.
And Scotty says, Captain, get in the chamber.
What about it, Spock?
A man must also have the power.
In my cabin is a device that will make you invincible.
Indeed.
What will it be, past or future? Tyranny or freedom? It's up to you.
It is time.
In every revolution, there's one man with a vision.
Captain Kirk, I shall consider it.
Poor Marlene, she just wants to go with them.
Yeah, she does. She wants out of this universe, and who wouldn't?
Well, I guess she likes this Kirk better than the other one because the other one's going to be coming back here shortly.
Right. Exactly.
This is what I mean by it would have been a fantastic 2-hour episode or a two-parter, because it would be great to see the mirror universe, what it looks like when the bad guys or the opposite people return back to their ship, with Spock now being much more aware of what's going on and knowing about the Tantalus field.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome too. I would like to see that, how that plays out.
Yep. And how Spock inevitably either changes Kirk or kills him, depending on what they do.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been nice to see.
Yeah, I would have. But here we get our classic humorous ending with Spock saying that his time with the mirror people said that they behaved like civilized men. Oh wait, he says it was easier for you as civilized men to behave like barbarians than it was for them, the barbarians, to behave like civilized men. I assume they returned to the Enterprise at the same time you appeared here.
All right, this is why I thought maybe this is why he was in the transporter room when they beamed over.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't he? Or was he?
Yeah, that was what Bird was asking about. How did Spock happen to be
question.
in the transporter room when they beamed over?
Yeah, he was. There he was. Mm-hmm. Exactly. But then Spock also says they were brutal, savage, unprincipled, uncivilized, treacherous, in every way, splendid examples of Homo sapiens. Very flower of humanity. And then, of course, the thing that Scotty wanted to say at the end, which was that Marlena shows up. And Kirk thinks that they can be friends.
So that's the look that Scotty was talking about that Uhura gave her, which eventually ended up being Cisco.
Yes. Yes, that he's she's replaced with Cisco.
Well, look at the way Kirk's looking at her. Wouldn't that be kind of creepy if that's supposed to be Cisco?
Well, they do it really well. They do it expertly in Trials and Tribulations.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
Well, obviously, he didn't look at him like this, right?
I don't think so. I didn't catch it like that anyway. But yes, that is true.
Very beautiful Barbara Luna.
Yes. Yes, and I give this episode an A+. I don't know if I have that much more to say about this episode. It just shows how important it is that Starfleet is peaceful by contrast with the fascist and murderous mirror universe. And that mirror universe is the way that much of sci-fi is written, as a dystopia hellscape where you keep what you kill and you claw your way to the top by being ruthless, pitting Kirk up against his own morality and seeing how he finds himself capable of fitting in without compromising his principles simultaneously. Seems completely impossible, and yet Captain Kirk manages to do it. So I'd say this is a great Captain Kirk episode, also really great Mirror Spock, who provides the means of making the mirror universe seem really believable, because even though the mirror crew are vicious and ruthless, he shows that they are still very intelligent, logical, and they had to be to have gotten as far as they did technologically. And it also shows how Mirror Spock is open-minded enough to hear what Kirk has to say. He can still be reasoned with, even though he's much scarier than our Spock. And it's incredible because Kirk still cares about doing the right thing, even when it's not his universe. And that's Star Trek. And something you can carry into your own life. A very valuable life tool that's important to do the right thing, even when it is a difficult thing to do.
Yep, I totally agree. I give it an A+ as well. It's one of Star Trek's best episodes. I like the style, and like I mentioned earlier, the fact that it's a fantastic bottle episode. They didn't have to shoot anything on location. The pacing of it was great. It was never slow. It never dipped. And, and I've said it before, but I prefer shows with no subplots. I wanted to stick to the main plot, and I want the plot to keep moving. There was no reason to stall or delay. And you could see that the actors obviously probably had fun playing the roles, the reverse opposites, which was really great because most actors, a lot of interviews, when they talk about playing bad guys, they loved it. I remember Vincent Price said that he enjoyed acting, but when he played the bad guy and he saw how people reacted, he enjoyed that much better. So I guess it's more fun as an actor to be a bad guy.
Yeah, sometimes you get to do meatier stuff when you get to be the bad guy.
Yes.
Or complex characters.
Right. And it's the same, like Lost in Space, we'll get to an episode where, let's just say it's similar. It's a parallel universe, and some of the people are bad, and the actors in the interviews said that coincidentally that happened to be their favorite episode.
No kidding. That's going to be fun. Lost in Space is lots of fun.
Yes, it is. Thank you. And with that, great episode. And I think I've already said most of everything. Oh, a fantastic Uhura episode. I think it's my favorite Uhura episode.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
In a live action show.
Yeah, I love any time she gets to be a part of the mission.
That's right. and she actually had an active role within the group. So it was,
Mhm.
it was great.
She was the only one who could do it.
Yep, and she handled it well. She didn't know. She was worried about going onto the bridge. Kirk gave her a vote of confidence, and then she put up a good front and showed a lot of confidence, pretty much. And I thought it was great. And her interaction with Sulu was fantastic. And I think it was a great George Takei episode as well.
Definitely. Really good job on his the big scar on the side of his face.
Yeah, the collodion scar. I love that.
Because it makes you wonder what the heck happened. How did he get that?
Right. It looks like some kind of battle scar.
Yeah, it looks like a battle scar. I think Scotty earlier was saying to her did it because of his advances. It's possible. Mirror her. And that's your review?
That is my review. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And Nemesis saying hello. That's how far up we are.
Hello, Nemesis. Hi, Nemesis. And we will be doing our horror stream tonight if you can be there.
Oh, yeah. Good news for Nemesis. And
yeah, I need to let PvP know. He said he hasn't seen the movie. Last night I didn't think I was going to be doing the stream, and I was telling everybody I wouldn't be there. So I got to let everybody know.
Your change of plans.
Change of plans, and for the good. One more stream before I go into the knife, as they say.
And hopefully to reemerge.
Yeah, I hope I'm not in there a long time.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, I don't want to be in there. Obviously, nobody does, but
yeah, I hope they can help you, and then they can release you really quick.
A few days, right? Less than a week would be optimal.
Yeah, that would be good. Krona says just romantic purposes. No, I was saying Marlena had more to it than that. She was helping build the mirror universe world and set the tone of it and provide Captain Kirk with information about it. Ari says a Tantalus device. Krona says, how long does Hoshi remain Empress?
Well, in Dagger of the Mind, when they mentioned Tantalus, wasn't it Tantalus 4? So we're assuming there's more than one Tantalus planet within the system. So that device could have came from any of the Tantalus planets, maybe.
It's true. I really don't know either. Yeah, we don't know which Tantalus planet they come from. And Wraith Wolf says the Enterprise show had a really cool take on this as well. That story with Hoshi was cool. Yeah, I know. I need to go watch it, guys. I should have watched all the Mirror Universe in preparation for this one.
I need to watch them too. Yeah, because I haven't seen DS9, Voyager, Enterprise, or any of those, but I would like to see the mirror episode.
At least see the Enterprise one.
The Enterprise one. Okay, that's a two-parter.
I think so.
Okay, I think somebody said that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And hello, Phantom Boomer. Good to see you.
Captain Fandom Nerd says, how old are you, Kronos? Well, we don't want anybody to dox themselves or tell them people personal information if they don't want to, but if you do want to answer, you can. At least Scotty didn't say quantum. Oh, yeah. Well, that was the thing they started doing a little later in sci-fi, where everything was quantum. Cardinal Sin says, I met Barbara Luna at a Star Trek con in Minneapolis in 2007. Spoke with her for a while and got her autograph.
Cool.
I think Ari did too. That's awesome.
Who's Ari?
His brother.
Oh, okay.
Wraith Wolf says, well, Vulcans were physically much stronger than humans. I took that to be part of his meaning.
Yes, I agree.
Oh, that's a good point.
Right, when he was talking about sending people after Sulu. And he said, and they're Vulcans.
Right. And yeah, so that I took that to mean that Vulcans are very different in the Mirror Universe in terms of their disposition instead of being pacifists.
Right. Brutality, perhaps.
Right. Instead of being peaceful. And yes. But also that they're both physically stronger than humans. That makes sense too. At least 3 times as strong.
Yep.
And Cardinalson says, in Mirror Mirror, the computer voice is male. And Wes Cagle says, sorry all, I seem to have missed most of the party again. Well, there's always the replay. I definitely appreciate anybody who is lurking or watching on the replay. Thank you so much for listening. Makes me so happy you're out there.
Right, and please hit the like button if you enjoy.
Thank you. James Caserta says, right now, Lazarus 2 is sticking his finger up Lazarus 1's nose in a headlock.
The eternal battle which go on forever.
Yeah. And James Caserta's description of that battle is better than the episode itself. And so, thank you thank you for telling me Tony had to go, because I would have gotten there 30 minutes late. And Tony says, thanks for the most epic review of this episode, Jill. And I did work extra hard on this review compared to the past few episodes. So I do appreciate that you noticed that. Oh, I forgot one thing. I forgot to play the videos that I had for the scenes we saw.
You are illogical. To be a willing part of it.
You have 1 minute and 23 seconds.
If change is inevitable, predictable, beneficial, doesn't logic demand that you be a part of it?
One man cannot summon the future.
But one man can change the present.
Present.
In every revolution, there's one man with a vision.
Yeah, it's a good script.
It is well acted and performed. I loved it. And what are the poll results? That is a great question. That is a wonderful question.
I'm excited. I can't wait.
Let's show them off. Good idea. And so, with no surprise here, in the A range, we have 86% and B range, 14%.
Well.
Nice.
No C's, D's, or F's. That's excellent.
Yes, awesome. Up, up, and away on my beautiful balloon, says Ree.
What a turnout. You got 43 votes. Nice.
Yeah, that is awesome, isn't it? Anti-Spartacus does not like the chat. No, I love the chat. What are you talking about, Curtis? I just can't read all of it.
Right, it takes a minute to get caught up.
Yeah, y'all are too awesome.
We respect the chat. We love the chat.
Definitely. We do. Wraith Wolf says, maybe they don't have the neck pinch in the Mirror Universe since they aren't pacifist. That's a
I thought about that, but they had the mind meld.
Right, they have the mind meld, so they do have the mental discipline.
Right, but it does make sense that maybe if they're pacifists, then in the Mirror Universe, Spock is pacifist? I hadn't thought of that.
He can't be.
No, didn't seem like it.
He definitely wasn't. He would be dead if he were. Cardinal Sin says, in this episode, Barbara Luna kisses Kirk, not the other way around. Admiral Teague says, coming up next, Admiral Teague follows Captain Pike's away mission to D-Day movie in the longest day in celebration of the 79th anniversary of the invasion of Europe. All right. Kronos says, do the peeps get sent to another universe or just blinked out of existence? Well,
the Tantalus field people, I'm thinking, is what Kronos is wondering.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, no, we don't know what happens to them. They just vanish. So we don't know what they vanish to, if they just disintegrate. Or, as you say, blink out of existence. Or sent to, maybe, beamed to the prison planet. That's a good idea. Yeah, that is an incredible question. I want the answer. And any episode of Star Trek that makes me want to know more about it externally, that is among the top.
Right, maybe they're transported to the cornfield.
Oh, the Twilight Zone episode.
Yes.
Let's see. Mark Harkness says to Kronos, an unfilmed film script for Enterprise has them displaced into Trek Universe versus Past. Shatner, as Tiberius, was going to encounter Archer, revealing how Spock sent him to Archer's universe. Whoa, weird. Cronus says, would have been nice to see an Enterprise season 5. He means season 5. Because we did get a 4. He hated that they canceled it. Yeah, me too, especially considering what happened.
I think it was Les Moonves, what I heard.
It was, yes, it was. He canceled it. Les Moonves is responsible. He ended up paying for it eventually in the past couple years, but not enough for the destruction he caused.
Right. It's never enough.
Fiona M says, was Christian Kyoke in a Trek video? I couldn't find the chat you were referring to, he says to Wraithwolf.
I'm not sure who that is.
Me neither. I missed it because I gotta miss some of the chat. And I don't want to. But I think the way I did it, we got through the episode in a good time.
Yes,
Stream
I think
Elements.
so.
Thanks. And Stream Elements wants you to remember Captain Fandom Nerds channel. And he's still here too. Great to see you there. Wraithwolf says it wasn't Star Trek related. It was a comedy movie. I'm sorry for the confusion. I referenced it because they said the line on the stream. Yeah, so and then he also says to Fiona, if you search it on YouTube for just Scotty Doesn't Know, it has the clip of it. It's from Eurotrip. Oh yeah, Scotty earlier mentioned that. That makes sense. So many shows and movies, so little time. I could make that the headline of my channel. Kronos. That is my life. There's too much stuff that I haven't seen. And I get to see it all for the first time. A lot of this stuff. Of course, not this. I've seen this. Cardinal Sin says Nichelle Nichols really gets to shine in this episode. She gets a lot more screen time and gets to show off her acting chops.
And her body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's phenomenal. Okay, kids, great review, but I have to get ready to do my thing. I'll try to wait to go live when your guys end. Thank you, Admiral Teague. I'll see you soon. And don't worry about me. I can handle it. I can play if you're ready to go. I don't mind overstreaming. And yeah, have a good one, Admiral Teague. Kirk's access to the mirror ship's computer. Kirk has access to the mirror ship's computer. Yeah, he did. It's true. So Khan would be Monk in the mirror universe? You're saying in the mirror universe,
Interesting.
Khan would be a benevolent detective?
Unless it was like, well, unless it was like Bird said, where the universe was split after City on the Edge of Forever.
I don't know.
Which took place after Space Seed. So I guess that means there would be an evil Khan after that, or a nice Khan.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it would be a Khan who maybe they didn't have.
Like you said, a monk, a peaceful person, right? Possibly religious.
Oh, that's a good point. And James Casertis wishes you luck. Good luck, Pop.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And Cardinal Sin says in the fight scene in sickbay, you can really tell Spock's stunt devil is obviously not Leonard Nimoy. Yes. And Wraithwolf says DS9 storyline had that the Empire overthrew the Federation. Wait a minute. Huh? Klingons and Cardassians. Humans became slaves afterwards. Oh, yeah. There's some weird stuff going on there.
So DS9 had an episode where the Federation fought the Empire.
Well, I don't know because they're.
Thank you, James Caserta.
They called their government an empire. The humans did.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah. So in Deep Space Nine, the Kirk's, well, the Empire falls. The mirror universe Empire falls, which is the correlation to the Federation. It falls because, well, I don't like talking about it because I don't like it, because Spock does end up, he makes a mistake in becoming pacifist, and he gives up too much of his weapons, and so then the rest of the, like the Klingons and Cardassians and everybody take over. And
interesting. Which one is that?
And so the Mirror Universe Federation, Deep Space Nine, they become the slaves.
But they don't show Spock. They just talk about it after the fact.
No,
right?
yeah, they just talk about it after the fact. You don't
Gotcha.
get to see any of it. Yeah, you just get it. You just get it as backstory. And Star Trek 2 would be really boring in the Mirror Universe with that. Kirk would be the jerk. Khan would be the one to yell out, Kirk! Buried alive. Buried alive. Cardinal Sin says, interesting bit of trivia. When Spock performs the mind meld on Dr. McCoy, he does it with his left hand instead of his right. Oh, interesting. I didn't think about which hand he used. Mm-hmm. And Mark Harkness says the Doomsday Machine was the Doom and Gloom machine. Space Seed was Space Weds, and Khan, Looney, and Silverman. The TV network executives are wanted for extremely bad taste. And Wes Keiko says, I give this one an A or an A-. I reserve A+ for only a handful of episodes. The City on the Edge of Forever, Day of the Dove, Balance of Terror, Space Seed, The Naked Time, and The Doomsday Machine. Cool. Thank you, Wes Keiko. Yeah, they are. Every actor interviewed says that playing the villain is the best, says Ree.
Yes, that's correct.
And Nemesis Eden says, I find the nicer the person, the better the villain they play, because they get to act out all the things they normally repress.
Yes, just like Vincent Price.
Mm-hmm.
He was like the sweetest man. And Boris Karloff is another one.
So if I were an actor, I'd be a very good villain.
I think so.
Krona says, I miss the Doomsday Machine in this show. Well, they had to get rid of it. I'm sorry. But if you really do miss it, go subscribe to Mark D with the C's Patreon, because you can commission him to make you one. The AI show says, depends on the actor. Leonard Nimoy played villains on TV shows prior to Trek. He got tired of that and wanted other roles. And Cronus misses a lot of streams. Oh, and speaking of Patreon, I'm Briggs on Patreon. On Stream Element Spot on screen. And Reba Bell says, the AI show, that's different. That's typecasting. Nobody likes that. Hey, Pop Culture, if you need to take your dogs out, please feel free to
Oh, you hear them, huh?
Yeah, I can always hear them. I can hear when they're ready to go.
I know.
I'm late. I'm 35 minutes late, but I'm not actually late for anything. I have time.
They can wait a little longer till we wrap this up. Thank you.
Okay. I just, we'll go through the chat and we'll be done.
I know. Thank you.
And you're welcome. If you change your mind, just let me know.
Okay.
Dalek451 says, "Hey Jill, what time do you think would be good to stream the game again so you can watch? I know you're always busy." Yeah, right after this I'll be busy. I don't know. I'm gonna take my son to a movie, so I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll get back to you later.
Is that the
Ariba,
Spider-Verse?
yeah, we're gonna go watch Spider-Man.
Cool.
Aribavel says, "Just because Tantalus had 4 more planets, it doesn't mean they're all habitable." That's a good point. We only have one of those
Correct.
that we know. And oh my goodness, Six is here. Hi, Six. I wish I would have seen you when you posted that 17 minutes ago.
Good to see you. If you're still there.
Yeah, I hope so. Kronos says, "Wasn't Tantalus the dude that had to stand in the water and was thirsty and went out to reach the water? It reacted like my hair." Oh, the Greek mythology, Tantalus. Yes, great job, Kronos. You're absolutely right. Yeah, so he'd see the fruit, or that no matter how close he got, it eluded his grasp, and also the water before he could take a drink. Yeah, that's in Greek.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's a part of Greek mythology, and Kronos remembered it.
Receded like my hair.
Now that comment makes a lot of sense, right? I like that. Thank you for reminding us of that kind of thing. Fiona says the Tantalus machine was more likely named for the Greek mythological figure than the star system, which was probably also named after the mythological figure. Oh, that's also a good point.
Yeah, it is. It's very cool.
And AI Show says, A on this episode, one of the prime examples of decent to good writing on TOS. Before the scripts atrophied into total bat guano and horror species in season 3. Fine, imaginative episode. And James Caserta says, "I'd like to crash land on her planet." Kind of says, "Ooh, is that right? I didn't know that. Cool." I hear Tom Hanks won't play a villain, says AI Show. Interesting. Wow, Jill is behind on the chat, says Cronus. I am. Kapla, Birdo Pay 5. Seems like you're just about done. Yep, it's true.
Yep, welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back, Bird. And happy birthday to Kronos. Happy birthday. Luckily, Bird already sang it. Fiona says, Vulcans are likely simply formidable for many reasons. Intellect, determination, and perseverance. Physical strength is probably much less of a factor, given the 23rd century technology. Part of human evolution is using tools in lieu of strength. And that is absolutely brilliant. That is true, Fiona. Wow.
Very nice.
Yeah, that's an incredible point. And Krona says, I should never have brought that up. What? Everything you've brought up is great. even if yeah, it's either funny or it's interesting. So you're good. And Wes Cagle says, there's always one man that has a vision in every revolution. That's true enough, but that vision isn't always good for the rest of society. And that is true. And Kronos says, I like being annoying, waiting to get banned. And Fiona says, of course, Animal Teague would say that. They get wished into the cornfield, says Carlson. They go wherever Charlie X sent his peeps. Oh, that's a good point, too. I forgot it was the anniversary of D-Day today.
Oh, I didn't realize.
I thought that. Oh, really? Oh, it is.
That was when Jimmy Doohan lost his finger.
Oh, right, to friendly fire. Wow, 86% of the peeps here are smart. Jill, did you see my question? Yes, I did. And I answered it. Even better. Scotty Doesn't Know is a great song from a great movie, says Bird of Prey 5. And Cardinalson says, great stream today, Jill. Guys, Jill, your shows are always interesting and provocative. Time is disturbing. Lunchtime doubly so. Thank you, Cardinalson. Much appreciated. Time is an illusion. Lunchtime doubly so. By Douglas Adams. Yes. Love Hitchhikers. And Kronos is dancing to some Sinatra. Wraith Wolf says, yeah, the DS9 had a pretty dark twist on all the Mirror Universe. In the Mirror Universe, the Federation is an empire. I don't know about Starfleet, though, says Cardinal Sin. They still call it Starfleet in this episode. We now return to Star Trek II, edited for goats. Nemesis of Eden says, I think Jill could make a great villain. Well, I'm starting to think so too. I just need to figure that out. Wraith Wolf says, you arrive precisely when you mean to. You're a wizard, Jill. Thank you. Cronus is going to be anti-busy today. Hey, that's good. And I'm glad you're still here, Six. Good to see that nobody voted C or under. Yes. This is Cronus. And thank you, everybody who is here. Thank you to Fiona, to Sean Carter, Gorilla's Random Thoughts. He says, Vulcans, the intellectual puppets of the Federation. And also, remember to subscribe to King Dolphin TV. He's going to have, he has a show on Wednesday and everything, and a show on Saturdays, Just Cuz, which are super fun.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. And thank you, Kronos. Thank you, James Caserta, Fiona, Gorilla's Random Thoughts, Cardinal Sin, Six. Wraith Wolf was really cool. Great to see you. And Wes Cagle, Nemesis of Eden, Sean Carter, who makes wonderful, awesome models on his channel. So check that out. Bird of Prey 5, thank you for being on the panel earlier. Dalek 451, the AI show. Always cool to see everybody here.
Yeah, this is fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. Thank you to you too, Pop Culture Curator.
My pleasure. It was fun. I'm glad I was able to be here. Thank you.
Me too.
And good to see you all in the chat. A
Well,
lot of wonderful names and wonderful people out there. It's so good to see you all.
Yeah, and I entered the poll officially with 43 votes, 86% at A, 13% at B.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Pretty great. And I got to copy that and paste it somewhere so I don't lose it. Done. Oh, I missed this one. Space Weeds by Mark Harkness. Thank you, Mark Harkness. Really wonderful chats from Mark Harkness and Fiona.
Yes.
I learned so much from you guys. And thank you also to Admiral Teague, Captain Fandom Nerd. Let's see, who else? I'm just scrolling through to see. And, oh yeah, Tony. Tony had to go to work. And Hungry went to sleep. By now, Hungry is fast asleep. And that's good.
Yes.
And also Frankel Walker was here earlier. I always love seeing him in the chat. And Herc 130. And we'll be back. I'll have another show on Friday. I'll talk about another UFO episode. Indie Tiger Sci-Fi review. Thank you for being here too. And I'll also talk about flying cars with Tony. He'll be back on Friday, and we'll make sure to talk all about that. And I love to learn about the real science too, and how it correlates with science fiction. And Tony does too. I mean, he really knows his physics. And not just physics, because I know physics. He knows engineering, and I don't know engineering at all. So I'm excited to learn about that from him. And Darius Munchausen also was here. Awesome.
Very cool.
It's always a treasure to see Darius, and also classic comics. It's good to remember who's around. And I apologize if I missed anybody. But I think, oh yeah, Agent Pepsi 1 was here too. That's always exciting. Just like this episode was. I was so excited to do this episode. I hope I did all right. Because I had
fantastic. A lot of fun. Yes,
Thank
it was
you.
great.
Mm-hmm. And oh yeah, not Brian. Not Brian's there.
And no, Nemesis of Eden was here for a little bit.
Right, Nemesis of Eden just got here for a while. And of course, Scotty was on the panel, Edge of Time. Awesome. Did they call it the Terran Empire, or was that a different show? And James Caserta. Oh wait, what?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that question.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, no, that's Deep Space Nine. You're right. Terran Empire. Yes. Yes, you're right. Wes Kegel. James Caserta says Jill can speak to animals. Yeah, but they can't speak back to me. That's the problem. I don't have the universal translator working. It's on the fritz. Wraith Wolf says, great stream. First one of yours I've caught live. Really liked it. Hope to catch more of them in the future.
Oh, very cool. Well, we were glad that you were able to be here.
Yes, thank you. And Kronos says that he's smarter than a dolphin. Well, so long, and thanks for all the fish, Kronos. And Barry says, great stream. Thanks. And Kronos says to you, be well, Pops.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Kronos. I will do my best.
Yes. And Wraith Wolf says, it's great to see you as well. Thanks for the great review as always, says Wes Kegel. And Kronos says, weeds in space. Wait, there's an episode of an animated series episode of Trailer Park Boys where they're astronauts in space and there's weed. It's good. Stargate 4.20. Gorilla's Random Thought says, can y'all vote in a poll on my community page to end a 3-way tie? Okay, so everybody, if you go check out Gorilla's Random Thoughts page and make sure you go to his community tab to go vote in his poll. See what kind of poll he's
we'll
got.
do Gorilla.
Mm-hmm. Someone invent fusion. Well, they're working on it. There are lots of experiments. One in which they sort of have the energy they put in come out, but it's not quite what you think it is. So it's still just an experiment, but they're working on it.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're nowhere near this being able to travel the speed of light.
No, we have a theory about it, but we don't have the antimatter, which might also be a good thing considering its destructive power.
Right, very unstable and dangerous.
And Cardinal Sin says, can't wait for the next show. Your show today had 3 times as many viewers as mine. Yeah, but Cardinal Sin, your shows usually do have the same amount of viewers for your lots of shows that you do have the same amount. So thank you. Everything will be all right. Subscribe to Orville Nation, says Stream Elements. And I just wanted to say that because Orville Nation has had a tough time not being able to be on Twitter, and that's not cool. So
Did they ever fix that?
No, they still haven't fixed it.
Aw.
Maria came in the chat one day saying that maybe they were going to fix it, but they haven't yet. I keep checking every once in a while.
That's terrible.
I know. I don't like it. But Wraith Wolf says, you did great. I really enjoyed all the conversation about various highlights of the show. Thank you. And they called it the Terran Empire in Enterprise, says Cardinal Sin. And Gorilla says, thanks, Jill and Pop. You're welcome.
Yep, good to see you, Gorilla.
And thanks, Jill, for being you, says James Caserta. You're welcome.
And thank
Can't
you,
help
Wes
it.
Schagel.
Everything. It's going to be all right. It will. Sounds like a song. And subscribe to Mark D with the C. So yeah, there you go. We did it. Mirror, mirror.
Yay.
Hooray.
That was fun.
It was.
I promise next week I'll do my best to be there. At least in the chat. I might still be in the hospital, but I'll at least try to be in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully you can still find a way to be able to hang out. That would be good.
Yes.
At least to know how you're doing.
Yes.
And Cardinal Sin says congrats on 426 subscribers, Jill, but that means I lost a subscriber actually. That's okay.
It happens to all of us.
It does. It does. But anyway, you're just gonna have your horror stream tonight, so that's fun.
Yes, I will have the horror stream tonight, everybody, but I will not be doing. I won't be having the Gilligan's Island stream tomorrow. I apologize, but I will keep everybody updated with what happens in the hospital.
Yes, please do. And in the meantime, I'll let you go. Have a great day, everybody. See you next time. I will leave you with the preview for next week's episode. Next week, next Tuesday, we're going to see The Deadly Years.
Perfect.
And so I'll leave you with a review for that. See you guys later. Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. Take care.
Captain's log, stardate 3478.2. On a routine mission to resupply the experimental colony at Gamma Hydra 4, we discovered a most unusual phenomenon.
Captain, I am 29. And Elaine is
I'm 27.
You mean another 20,000, Captain?
I fail to understand why each one of my commands is being questioned. Now do as you're told, Mr. Sulu.
I estimate that physically we each have less than a week to live. We will be little better than mental vegetables in a considerably lesser time.
You stab me in the back the first chance you get? Get out.